Up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
You know, Roger Houston, we've got it from here. Everything seems to be nominal. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming live to you from high above your imagination in the International Fake Station. We've got some special guests with us tonight. I'm going to bring them up without any further ado. Today I have Dave Weiss, Flat Earth Dave, with us tonight. We also have a special guest, Austin Witsit from Witsit Gets It. And we have my good friend, Anthony Perrone from Fredericksburg, Virginia, who is a Glover, but that's okay. We love him anyways. So I want to welcome everybody. How's everybody doing tonight or today?
Doing excellent.
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Great. So Anthony and I had been in several discussions over the last couple of years, and we get into some pretty heated discussions about this. And Anthony was telling me, he says that he can't get around the Earth being a flat because of star movements in the southern hemisphere. Anthony, you want to go on and tell us what it is you think on that?
Well, I was hoping to avoid talking about the globe at all. I mean, there's other people who are more adept at explaining the globe than I am. I was looking more to attack the flat Earth model and then see if you guys could defend it. And for the purposes of my argument, we could assume there's no such thing as a globe model. The entire world believes the Earth is flat. I'm the lone heretic that is here saying, I don't think it's flat, here's why. And I'd like you guys to defend it without making an appeal to the globe model, because it seems like that's usually where we go when we attack the flat Earth model. We go, well, the globe this, the globe that, you think this, that, that. If there was no globe model, you should be able to defend the flat Earth model nonetheless. So I was hoping you would allow me to do that. I can allow you guys at the end, maybe if you want me to explain why I think it's a globe, or the things that I see in the, my environment that would suggest to me that it's a globe. we can do that. Or maybe if you want me to interchange some of your talking points, I can do that too. But I was really hoping I had 3 points to bring up, which are completely paradoxical to the flat Earth model. And I was hoping we would spend maybe the first 20 minutes talking about those.
Go ahead, man. What are those paradoxical things?
Okay, well, I
one at a time. One at a time.
Yeah,
So
sure.
hit us with one.
Exactly. I hope we can stay on topic, and then we can either have a difference of opinion, a difference of reality, or maybe you don't accept the premises or whatever. But each topic we should be able to firmly place in some category before we move on to another one. Because that's another thing I've noticed: the flat Earth argument is always switching the goalpost, changing the topic, yada yada yada. So the flat Earth, I wanted to start with your local sun measurements, because you guys say that the sun is local, relatively speaking, correct?
It appears to be local.
So how far above the Earth? Give me a range. You don't have to say exactly this much of that. I know you've done your triangulation and you've got figures, but what is the range for the height in miles, preferably, above the Earth that the sun is traveling?
I'll let Austin answer that one, and don't assume that we have done the triangulation. Go ahead, Austin.
You would have to know the medium that it's in to possibly know a distance. So we don't have to know how far things in the sky are. That's a preposterous standard. Who made you think that was a realistic standard? Who made you think that was a realistic standard?
It's a macro argument, though. It's to say that, like, use extremes. You should be able to see this at the extreme and see that at the extreme. So would you say the stars are less than 100,000 miles from the Earth, over the surface of the Earth, or you'd say maybe they're more, maybe they're less?
Again, you want us to give you a number on how far a gas ball in a void, a vacuum, which is scientifically impossible.
What's a void and what's a vacuum? I'm talking about the flat Earth model. Nothing about vacuums, nothing about voids. Forget the globe model. How far in the flat Earth model is realistic for these stars or the sun to be?
I just answered your question. It's a ridiculous question to ask. Why would you think we would know how far away stuff in the sky is? How would we possibly know that?
Well, then why do you say that it's not 100 light years away? You think that's absurd, don't you?
I thought we weren't talking about the globe model. So
well, no, the globe model. How far? Would it be absurd to say they're 100 light years away? Would that be absurd?
That's a ridiculous claim that would, as an extraordinary claim that needs extraordinary evidence. Yeah. So we're not actually making the ridiculous positive claims. When we see the sun, we see it has crepuscular rays, and it's warmer when it's closer to us. So the evidence on its face is that it's local.
So you're saying that the sun is literally behind a set of clouds that you see?
No.
If the clouds ever get on an airplane and drive to the sun?
No, that would be called a straw man fallacy.
Well, what does the crepuscular rays have to do with the fact that the sun is local? Explain that to me.
Okay, so the empirical evidence shows us that the sun is local because the rays are divergent, and the amount of divergence changes due to perspective and different types of obstruction, and it's warmer when the sun is closer. So when the sun moves away from me, it's not as
close because of the divergent rays. Well, you said the sun's close because of divergent rays. You said that implies that it's a local sun because you see rays going like this, right? So you're saying that the rays should be converging toward where the point of the sun is, correct? That's why you're saying it's local, because of the sun rays, right?
I just said that it changes. You're not listening. You're just trying to speak before I finish.
Okay,
You're not listening. Okay, so the divergence changes, and it's warmer when the sun is closer. So as a default, the sun is relatively local to the Earth. That's what we observe. If someone wants to make a claim that it's super far away with specific distances, they have the burden of proof to substantiate that. We don't have to claim how far away the sun is. It's a
divergence is happening at an exact point in time, at an exact area on the Earth. Let's freeze screenshot when you see that divergence. I don't care that it changes. That's not making any points. If it's just right there, you're looking at the divergence. We screenshot and freeze all time. We should be able to fly to the sun. It should be local, close to where that divergence is, right? You should be able to go to the backside of that cloud and look at it, and it should be there where the sun should be in front of you, right?
So
if it was local.
So I'm going to respond and try not to interrupt unless I ask you a question. So the first thing is, you're assuming that on a flat Earth, there's a physical sun floating in the sky. Is that correct?
Well, there has to be, right?
No. Hold on. I'm saying, are you assuming that? Yes, is the answer. Correct?
For sure. That's what you
Okay.
tell me. But okay.
So
You assumed it.
when you're driving down the road and the sun is out and you're looking at people in their cars and you see a sun on each one of those cars in the window, it's kind of like floating there. Like, is that
Right.
a physical sun or is that an optical sun?
That's an optical reflection. It's not a sun.
So here is a possibility of a possibility. I'm just saying,
Sure.
I don't know. And when we look up into the sky, we have this azimuthal grid of vision. And we can get into that a little deeper. And I believe that the source of the sun is above or beyond it, or however you want to do it. And I don't know what it is, but we see it. So right here, I have a sheet dividing a room in half. I have a light. It's actually a square light. 10 feet behind the sheet, but it looks kind of round. Interesting how things turn round in the distance. Now, over to my left is Paige, and I say, where do you see the sun? And when I go over to her point of view, give it a second. I go over to her point of view. She sees the sun. Give it a second. Here we go. She sees the sun right there. So if I put a little X on that sheet with a Sharpie, and then I move over to my point of view, I see a local sun there. She sees a local sun over there at the same time. So we're seeing two different things. Now, is that going on?
So that doesn't mean the sun is local. How can you say the sun is local if you're seeing two different suns?
Wait until I'm done. I don't interrupt
Okay,
you.
so you don't know where it is.
Yeah, let's not interrupt.
You're still interrupting. I was almost done.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the sun that we see in the sky, we don't know how far it is. We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's the actual sun, but there's lots of evidence showing us that it appears to be manifesting in a position relative to each person's view.
So you just said, we don't know. You told me you thought it was local, but you don't know how high it is.
Correct.
You told me it was in two different places, but you think it's here, but not there. But you think it's here sometimes and not here there. She sees it at a different place and you see it, but you purport to know where it is. And now you're telling me it's local. And then you're also saying the crepuscular rays prove that it's local. Well, then you should be able to see. If I'm sitting in New York City and somebody else is in New Jersey and there's crepuscular rays between the two cities, somebody in New Jersey should see it to the north. Somebody in New York should see it to the south. The sun isn't there. The sun is in the north or in the south in both instances. If you're standing in New Jersey, you're not looking behind you to see the crepuscular rays that those in New York are seeing. It doesn't work that way. The sun is always in the south. It's not local. You can't just drive to the sun. Believe what you want to believe, but I mean, if the crepuscular rays made the sun local, you should be able to drive to the sun. You should be able to put it to your north, your west, your east, your south. They got airplanes that go 2,000 miles an hour. If you can't do that, then it's not local. I see what the crepuscular rays, you know the way diffusion works? I can show you what it looks like to have a incandescent or fluorescent light bulb, and you've got diffuser pan material. Okay, that makes the light go at crepuscular rays. No matter where you shoot the shit, it fills up the entire light. So if you've got a pinhole where there's clouds, sure, it's going to make the rays crepuscular. That's the way diffusion works. So it's not, you're not proving the sun is local by saying, there's crepuscular rays. But I didn't even get on to my main argument, which is a contingent by my contention with the flat Earth.
We'd like to answer your assumptions.
Let's go with that.
No, because you went on about the crepuscular rays. I didn't even get to go to my first point.
I want to add.
I had nothing to do with clouds, but here we are again arguing about something I didn't bring up.
Have you ever watched basketball where someone's guarding someone and they cross them up and they start to go to the lane and they realize, oh, he's about to score? Tackling the person doesn't mean you win. Right. So you have to actually hear the points out. So you didn't listen to what Dave said. You have a predetermined script that you're going to repeat.
No, Dave said the sun. Dave, I heard what he said. He said two people can see the sun in different parts.
Can you mute
him? And he says it's apparent. He says we don't know how high it is because we appear to see the sun, but it's.
Thank you. Let Austin respond.
You gotta let people talk, man.
Yeah. All right, look, real fast. So he was trying to explain to you that when we see the sun, it's an apparent position. We have an azimuthal grid of vision, right? So right here, we have the zenith. We have an azimuthal grid of vision, a 360 field of view. So if we look over here, we're going to see crepuscular rays and anti-crepuscular rays. Okay. So this right here is crepuscular rays or anti-crepuscular rays, and then you follow around to the other side and you're going to see anti-crepuscular rays. Okay. So these are all apparent locations relative to the observer, because we have an azimuthal grid of vision just like this, where you have this is what we see in nature. We see a curved crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays. So the sun's just an apparent position. We're looking at an apparent position relative to each observer, provably so. Even the globe model requires you claim that this is due to perspective. So we don't have to claim a physical location or a distance.
That's still a non sequitur to say that you see rays, and then that can tell you that you don't know where the sun is because you see rays. Show me the sun. When you look at the sun travels each degree of its arc through the exact same duration of time. It doesn't slow up. It doesn't speed down. This is the problem with your whole flat earth theory, is that the objects in the sky, they go away from you. The distances from the observer and the objects are in constant fluctuation. The reason why we can't see the sun at nighttime is because you assert it goes so far away that we can no longer see it, right? You have star constellations that are the exact same constellation overhead as they are on the horizon, despite the fact that you would have to see them at a different angle. So I hear everybody going, oh, there's no parallax. If the sun is going around, if the Earth's going around the sun, why don't we see the parallax? Well, if the stars were only, say, 200,000 miles over the Earth, I know you neglected to give me a figure because you can't work it out, even though every other model gives you figures.
Nobody can work it out. Tell me the height. Tell me the height and distance to a rainbow that you see. Go measure it.
That's what the triangulation is about on a flat Earth. You should be able to do the triangulation, period. But then you have to use your ad hoc argument. We don't know where the sun is.
Between comments. Try to take a pause, because I'm just going to talk over you if you don't, and then it's going to be a shit show. All right? So you say we can triangulate. If I showed you with the sheet that two people see things in different places. People see rainbows in different places. So if you took the measurements of how far the people were apart and how far it was to the rainbow, could you triangulate where the rainbow is? No, you cannot.
I'm not arguing about triangulation. I'm not arguing about triangulation.
You're the one that brought it up. You're the one that said triangulate.
I only said it because that's what on a flat Earth you will be able to do.
Shut the fuck up for a minute.
You gotta let him talk, man.
Shut up.
I did. I'm not talking about triangulation.
You're still talking. Listen. You keep making claims that are untrue. The sun and the stars move 15 degrees per hour evenly all the time. That's not true. It stops when it gets close to the horizon. This sun was going down, 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 down. I watched it, and then it should just keep on going, but it stopped. And it sat here for 10. Shut up. It sat here for 10. It's out of here for 10 minutes. Now, you can say this is out of focus, this or whatnot. Doesn't matter. The sun stopped going down when it got near the apparent horizon. So there negates your claim that everything.
It doesn't negate shit. All right, let me talk. Let me talk. You haven't let me get any of my shit out. The sun, even if you say at the very end before it goes down, it doesn't maintain the same speed. On a flat Earth model, the speed would be linear. It's called the NASCAR effect. You've ever been to a NASCAR race? Okay, the objects are moving faster. They appear to be moving faster. They appear to be larger, and they appear to be louder the closer they are to you. Okay, you can't deny this. You can't just laugh and go, oh, that's not the way it works. This is the way the NASCARs go by you when they're close to you. On the backside, your head tracks slowly. The objects are moving the same speed. The objects are the same size. But when they're near to you, they appear to be moving faster and they appear to be larger. Okay, so why doesn't the sun get fucking huge overhead? But that's not my argument. That's the angular diameter. You guys are going to say atmosphere. You're going to say vapor. I'm not arguing about angle diameter.
Can I make a short response to what you just said?
No. You're going to have to give me at least 2 minutes to talk, okay? You're going to have to give me 2 minutes to talk. What I'm saying is that the objects are moving in the same speed. You can say that, hey, it's at the very end. It's changing. It's supposed to be a linear relationship, okay? Doesn't matter how big or small the object is. The center of the object is going the same speed according to your apparent vision, according to your eye. Anywhere on the Earth, okay? It might go faster December 21st than it does January 21st, but wherever you are in the latitude, day to day, January 21st midnight to January 22nd midnight, the sun is not speeding up or slowing down. And if you make some point that at the very end of the day it doesn't matter. It's supposed to be on a linear scale.
You don't understand the difference in angular speed and tangential speed. So let me explain it to you in terms that you'll understand. The globe claims that there's an angular speed of the globe, right? But there's also a difference in tangential speed. So as you change latitude, there's differences. It increases tangential speed towards the equator, but it's all going the same rotational speed, the angular speed. Same thing with the sun. We have the angular speed, roughly 15 degrees per hour, but we have a difference in tangential speed. So it's exactly the same thing, and you don't understand the difference in those two things. Secondly, you just went on a big long monologue strawmanning an actual position of the sun again because you're not listening to us, and we're pointing out that
But
it's just
I
an
know,
apparent
so
position.
you have to come up with all these ad hoc arguments. We're not seeing the real sun. It's growing all my plants. It's giving all this immense energy. It is there, but it's moving at the exact same speed all across the sky. But you have to say, we don't see it because of your
not moving
crepuscular
at the
lines.
exact same speed. It's not moving, and you
It
just
should
said
be a
it.
linear. Have you seen a NASCAR race? It should be linear.
just
Same thing with the
debunked you.
object size. The object should
just
be
debunked
fucking
you.
huge when it's overhead.
Give them
But
a
it's not.
chance to respond before you jump in all the time.
And
Give
when
them
we
a chance to
respond, you should try to listen and then process the words that we are saying.
No, I am.
You're not
You're just
listening.
denying reality.
All
You're
right, let's
denying
just
that
make
we
him
can see
answer.
it.
Let's
all.
make him answer. Address my point that you conflated angular speed and tangential speed. Go.
My point is this: when you go to a NASCAR race, you see objects
Can't
around
do
a
it.
loop, and they're changing. I'm doing it now. I don't need to know your fucking scientific, esoteric bullshit argument. I'm talking about a macro approach to this. If you go to this NASCAR race, anybody with a brain knows the objects are smaller when they're on the backside, and they appear to be moving faster when on the front side. If you deny that, you're denying reality. Okay,
So you
And
don't know the
also-
difference.
You also started your argument off with the globe again. You said the globe, 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 globe. I told you to defend the flat
No, I
Earth theory.
didn't.
Why don't you see the NASCAR effect? I don't care about tangential speed versus whatever speed. I can take
do.
my ass to a
You
NASCAR
do.
race
Actually,
and observe
all right,
the NASCAR
hey,
effect.
Try. Hey, do me a favor. Just try shutting up for a second, and I will address your NASCAR because you are a big NASCAR fan. I can see. And my sun fade out video actually shows that the sun is moving fast across the sky at noon. It's going down to about 15 degrees per hour, but when it gets far away from us on a flat Earth, it slows down. Okay, and it
Except it doesn't. Except it
I
doesn't.
showed you that it does. I just showed you.
I'll
that it
show you
does.
that it doesn't. That's the thing. You're the only asshole that can put these things online. There's hundreds of thousands of people
I'm
that
the
do
only
this.
asshole.
Wait. I'm just gonna start correcting this guy. So I brought up the globe because you don't understand
How
the
does the sun
concept
do
of
this? This
angular.
is with a solar
Calm
filter.
down, man.
Talking. Shut
Calm
up. Mute him when we're
down.
talking.
This is a
please.
solar filter.
Please just mute him when we're talking.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like you aren't ready for this. Even in your own paradigm, they claim the sun slows down at the horizon, and they claim it's because it's refracted up half a degree. It's a measurable effect across the entire world for all recorded history that the sun slows down at the horizon. Even your own model invokes an explanation for it.
It should be linear. You're still wrong, even if it does at the fucking tiny little bit slow down. It's not working the way that it should work according to the model. If you ignore that, then you can just ignore that. It should be a linear relationship. It should be going much faster. It should blast overhead, like at Honolulu. It should be huge and blast overhead. It doesn't do that.
No,
Sorry.
see, now you're once again you keep on bringing up angular size, right? To just
Right.
squeeze it in
Look,
there.
This is a
You
solar
don't
flare. This is a solar
understand the
filter.
difference in angular speed and tangential speed. The reason I brought the globe up is because 5-year-olds are taught this difference, maybe 12-year-olds, right? Which is that the Earth is supposedly a ball that spins. I'm not bringing up the globe as an explanation. I'm trying to make sure you understand the concept. If the Earth's a globe that spins, it supposedly spins 1,000 miles per hour east at the equator. That's its tangential speed. At like further north, it's like 700 miles per hour. What the
Okay.
whole globe is, listen. The whole
I said
globe
okay.
is it's supposedly spinning at the same rotational speed. Okay. So there's a
Yeah.
difference in tangential speed and rotational speed.
Of course, and that blows up
changes-
the whole globe model.
The sun
It
changes
blows it up.
the sun changes tangential speed, but it has the same angular speed.
Of
Okay? It's
course,
the
and that's
very
all
big-
dependent on your latitude. Well, you're not telling me anything I don't know. It goes faster at the equator than it appears to go at the poles. Cool. That makes sense. It makes sense.
Well, hold on a second. Are you familiar? You're familiar with LPs, right?
Listen, if the sun is traveling at a constant speed throughout the day, it should appear to be at different speeds
Just mute him.
in constant fluctuation.
If you're familiar with an LP, right? Why don't the songs at the edge of the record play faster than the songs toward the middle of the record?
The end of the record is going at a higher speed. It's the same RPM. It's the same thing that works with the Earth. That's why the days, if you go to the equator, the days are like 12 hours long throughout the whole year, right? And so it's like, why wouldn't they change it all? Well,
Let me ask you a question. So why is it that the duration of the the light after the sun sets, right? Like, why is it longer in the south than in the north?
I don't agree with that. I'll show you the date and time. We can look it up right now. Look at any north latitude versus of the same south latitude. Go to date and time right now and look it up yourself.
Okay, so you agree that if it's more in the south, it debunks the globe, and it would only work
No,
on
it's
a
the
flat.
same. I'm saying it's the same. I've looked it up.
So you
we
agree
can do
that
it for
if it's
Stanley,
not the
Virginia, which is
same-
38 north. We can do it whatever town you live in, whatever latitude it is. We'll do that. We'll look up a latitude south, and we'll see the daylight.
All right, let me help you out. I'm trying to help you out here, right? So we have a limit to our perspective. It's an azimuthal grid. This is how we measure the sky. It's not debatable. It's just a fact. It's been done with all kinds of experiments we provably see in a hemisphere, right? We have spherical geometry, hyperbolic geometry. So when we see the sun, it's actually outside of our little bubble of vision, right? But we see it from within it. That's why it doesn't change angular size, okay? And that's why we see it set in the distance. That's why we are just seeing the apparent position. It's provable. And
So
look, if you looked at the screen I shared, which is like a newscast from a weather newscast, this is showing right here the actual thing I'm telling you about. This is suncalc.org. Okay. This is showing you that we have an azimuthal grid of vision. This is the limit of how far we can see the sun, right? Based on our perspective, and it gives you this big loop around you, which is why we have crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays and why the angular size doesn't change. If you want to actually debunk flat Earth, you need to stop straw manning it, because that's all you're doing.
I'm not straw manning. You don't see the NASCAR effect. You don't see the NASCAR effect. This is a flat plane. You're looking at a ball traveling the same speed around a track, and you don't see it linearly slowing up and speeding down. You don't see that. You've made the argument that you see it very briefly on the horizon, and that apparently makes you think that the whole thing works, but it doesn't work. You don't see that any of that shit. And then your argument has to be that we're not actually seeing the sun. So that's
we're seeing the apparent position of the sun.
Right,
it's just a fact. You have to deny reality.
Right. But the apparent position of the sun is moving at a constant rate of speed.
Hey,
Except for
Anthony, stop talking just for a moment. Let us participate here. I'm showing you a video here of the sun when it's near the horizon. It's doing it's screaming out, "This is the NASCAR effect." It's taking forever to go away. It stops going down and it goes away slowly. This is
okay. Well, you see when you look at my video, I'm showing you.
I'm not done talking. Shut the fuck up.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry,
you gotta stop interrupting.
Listen, don't make me swear in front of Austin. It hurts him. Okay,
I need push-ups.
I have to do push-ups. Keep track. I'll do them right after the show. Okay, I wimped out on my workout this morning, so I could swear a few more times. So you say that it doesn't happen. You have not seen it happen because you're not looking for the truth. All right, go ahead, Austin or Anthony.
Or me, because I do look for it, and I have seen it happen. Now look at my video. Now look at my video. This is with a solar filter. This is the sun setting over a time lapse. It's not slowing down. It's not changing size. It's going down. Okay, it should be hanging on the horizon for the majority of the day if it was a flat Earth. It should be blasting over top and then hanging on the horizon for the rest of the day. It shouldn't just go down like that.
Let me respond, and you're going to have to let me answer this one. Okay, so. The reason with a solar filter, you can't see the sun for those last moments. I've done it. I put my drone up, watched the sun completely disappear, just like you showed it. And then I took the solar filter off, put my drone back up. I could see the sun for another 5 minutes. Okay, hold on. Listen, mute yourself and then put your hand over your mouth for the next 2 minutes because I need to show you something, right? And so there's different types of sunsets, okay? And here we go. So, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Hold on 1 second. Where'd it go? Here we go. So we see, where the hell did it go? I just lost my thing. Here we go. All right, so we see in a perspective grid, right? The sky comes down, the ground comes up, and we see everything comes in from the sides. It all goes to our eye level. This isn't a theory. This is ball Earth, globe Earth. It doesn't matter. This is how we see. Right. So now we put a mountain in front of the sky. This mountain is thousands of feet above this guy's head. So the sun is just going to go away. It's not going down. It's just going away. But it looks like it's going down. And if you don't understand that, hold on. I'll let you respond in 1 second. If you think it's going down, go watch my Flat Earth Kitchen video and you'll understand that it's not. All right. Real quick, because I'm not done. But go ahead. You have a quick comment? See how polite I am?
You got him. I got him. Hold on.
If you can prove at the very end, it should be linear. It should be linear.
right, let me finish.
Okay,
You have
so,
no idea.
so
You
just
have no
because you
idea
can
what I'm
find some
presenting. Mute
anomaly
him
doesn't
again.
matter. It should
You have
be
no idea what I'm presenting. So shut up and listen. Put
no.
your hands down. Pay attention. Pay attention.
All right,
Okay.
first
So now,
stop being a dick. Stop
right.
being a dick. You don't have to tell me to shut up. You can be respectful.
Anthony,
I
you
kind of
keep
do,
talking
man.
over
I kind of
everybody.
do.
All
'cause
right,
you
that's
keep
fine.
talking
That's
over-
fine. That's fine.
Let me know when you're
That's
done.
fine. I don't like being told to you shut up, blah, 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 blah. Just do your thing, man.
And
You gotta
shut
quit
Talk
up.
about how,
over everybody.
okay, should be linear.
All right, let me back up. So now I'll just start over. Okay. So here you got your perspective grid of vision. The sun goes away. It's not going down, provably. Now, when the sun is beyond here, this is thousands of feet over his head. We know that the sun isn't below the horizon. It's just beyond the mountain. Okay, nod if you can agree. You agree? It's just beyond the mountain. It's not below the horizon. You have the common sense to understand that. Yes. Okay. So now we move away from the mountain. We move that mountain into the distance, and we follow the perspective grid of vision. And all of a sudden, the mountain is so small, we can see the sun again. We spread out because we can see wider, fill in the foreground, and there's the sun. So now we watch the sun just go farther away, and it looks like it's going below what's at eye level, but we know that this mountain is thousands of feet above his eye level, and the sun has just gone beyond it. It has gone beyond it. Now we fill in the clouds, bring the sun back up here. Now we have the ground layer. We have these mountains that are thousands of feet above his eye level. We have these clouds, which are thousands of feet above the mountain. And we have the sun, which is 6,000 miles above the clouds. Here, I gave you a number. I'm just kidding. The sun is above the clouds. We can all clearly say that, okay? Because we can prove that. We can go up in an airplane and see it's above the clouds, and we can just see it. So now the sun moves away, and all of these clouds are merging into eye level. These clouds here that look like they're touching this mountaintop are just merging into eye level. We know that they're thousands of feet above the mountain, which is thousands of feet above the guy's head or his eyes, and the sun just goes away. And as it goes away, it goes beyond our limit of vision. This guy thinks this is at eye level, but it's thousands of feet over his head. The sun goes away. And that's how the sun sets. All right, I'm done.
All right.
Okay,
sure
we
you
weren't
didn't hear
talking
anything,
about
but-
how the sun sets. We were talking about the speed of the sun. So you segued into something else.
Oh, but I'm showing
Also,
you.
why do you have to put the mountain?
Let me finish
Let
my
me
point.
talk.
Just
Oh,
to get
whoa,
to,
whoa,
let me
now
just
I
finish.
can't talk.
Let me just finish. No, just the real thing is the reason I was
told
saying
me to
that is
talk.
because that's a sunset where those mountains that are very close are blocking the sun. But if on a clear day over water, we'll be able to see the sun go farther away, and you will get your NASCAR.
All right,
effect.
then let's do that. Get the solar filter and do it over the water and show people. For real.
You can't. As I said, and you can go watch my videos, when you put a solar filter on, you can't see the last few minutes of the sun going away. It blocks the light. There's not enough
Then
light to
zoom
go through a
in.
solar filter.
Use a telescope.
No, you can't
Zoom
zoom
in.
in through a solar filter. It blocks the light.
That's just
You
okay. How
understand?
convenient for your argument. On the glow bottle, it just goes down, but on yours, because of the solar filter, you can't see it. It should
Let
be
me
a
ask you a
linear
question. Let me
relationship.
ask you a
It should be
question. Let me
going
ask you a
faster
question.
overhead than
Hold
on
on.
the sun.
If you
It
see-
doesn't.
Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you
Can
a
I
question.
talk,
Just to
Dave?
address your.
Can I talk?
Hold on.
You
made
only
a
get 10
comment.
seconds out.
It's kind of a back and forth, but you keep making comments and say how convenient. But let me ask you a question and see if you can logically understand. You're sitting in a room, and across the room is a candle, and you can see the candle. And then I hold a solar filter in front of your eyes, and you no longer can see this candle. Is that a convenient excuse, or can you?
It
really
is when
still see
when the
candle?
object when the object is moving a constant speed. You can see the whole thing, and then you see half of it, and then you see a quarter of it, and then you see none of it. It's not like the thing just ran out of light, Dave. I mean, come on.
No,
You just watch it.
yeah.
I can do this all day.
it's
Do it over the ocean.
Go
It's
ahead.
the same as
Austin, I
this.
give
If
up.
you're standing at if you're at an Olympic swimming pool and you're sitting on the edge of it, you can see clearly down to the other end. You can see the people walking around.
No, you
Even
can't.
what color
No,
stuff
you
they've
can't.
got. Yes, you can. Once you
It's
go on
crystal clear water, but okay.
He's talking about above the
again
water.
didn't listen. I said sitting on the edge of the pool, you can see the people at the other end
Okay.
clearly, right?
Yeah.
But when you submerge yourself under the water, even if it's crystal clear pool water, you're not going to see the other end. You're not going to see the people. You're not going to see any of that. The same thing occurs with what they call atmos opacity.
Right.
Okay. And that is because there's water vapor, there's dust, there's all kinds of shit in the air that you're looking through. It's the
So then why does the sun appear to get larger?
The difference between looking through a window pane and then trying to look through the edge of the window pane.
Sure. Why does the sun get larger on the horizon than when it's overhead?
Magnification, atmospheric magnification.
So then why does it set?
Because it gets too far away.
Well, then why doesn't it get huge and then fade out? You say it sets because of angular perspective, but angular perspective would also make it huge overhead. Well, now it gets large on the horizon because of gas, but now when we're overhead, the gas makes it small. But if the gas can negate the angular perspective, then how does it set at all?
Okay.
It should get larger and larger and larger and larger until it literally just turns into nothing. According to the theory.
I have a very short question for you. A very, very short question. Are you willing to hear the answer?
Sure.
Okay. Austin's showing something, I believe. Austin?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure he said, why doesn't the sun fade out? We actually have videos of the sun fading out.
No, I said get huge. I said get huge before fading out. I didn't just say fade out.
So listen, and this is going to take some. This is going to take some processing that you are going to need to do to understand. Austin was talking about the azimuthal grid of vision. We see in a grid, and we're in the middle of this personal atmospheric dome, we can call it. And that's not a flat Earth theory. That is just a truth. And the globe even claims it. We have the model to show exactly how it works. So here's how perspective works. Here's this train. It is right next to this viewer. As the train goes away, it gets smaller due to perspective. Okay.
Yes.
We can all agree on that. Yes, it gets smaller due to perspective. And that's because the train is this object is at the same height as the viewer. Okay. And now here is just some parallel lines. And we look, these lines are parallel, but they look like they're going down up here, but they're parallel. This is perspective. Again, I showed you that with the perspective grid. Okay. So here's a viewer, and this is a sideways view of the viewer. No one ever sees this. This is the viewer. This is how he sees the sun right here. Okay. And as the sun goes, it just goes away, and it appears to be going down because of our perspective grid. And then it merges behind the horizon. Hold on. I'm going to get to the answer. All right. So here we go. Here's the train car. We move it up. It has already shrunk. And once it is up to altitude, up far away, when it goes away, it doesn't shrink that much more. It does shrink a little bit depending on the weather conditions. It does shrink prospectively. Okay, hold on. I'm not done. And then when you're looking across the atmosphere, depending on how much moisture is, there's some magnification, and sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small. All right. So hold on before you laugh. And now I'm going to show you a real world example of this. I have this wiffle ball, and I have another one 6 feet away. Okay. And it's tiny. This one's tiny. This one's big, but we know they're the same size. And if I rolled this one away, it would get smaller until it reaches that ball and it's that size. So in your flat Earth belief, yes, the sun should do that. However, the sun is not at our eye level. Right. And if I lifted this up, I'm going to lift the camera up, and I'm going to get above it. Now, look, this ball has already shrank. And if I rolled it along this track, it won't shrink anymore.
Right.
There is your setting sun.
Okay.
There you go.
This is why I was talking about the speed and not the angular size, because you can't do that with the speed.
Talking about the angular size. Your question was
but angular size is part of the exact same speed argument. The NASCAR effect is the same thing because the objects are different distances from you. So take both those balls that you had and roll them at the same speed to the left. You'll see the one closest to you seems to be moving, makes your head move faster than the one furthest from you. See, it's going the same speed, but our sun we see progress through each arch of its degree of its arch at the same time. And if you can say, oh, on the horizon we see one small tiny anomaly, that's not enough to account for the linear speed difference you would see throughout the day. You simply do not see it.
I have explained multiple times we see the apparent position of the sun within the azimuthal grid of vision. You only detect
so you lied
Anthony, look, stop walking around. Look, right? Here's a viewer. Here's his grid of vision. The sun is moving across, and we just see the apparent position of the sun. And then when it gets
Right, you're
close to
coming
the
up with a bunch of
hold on,
bullshit.
I'm almost
Where's your
done. I'm
math?
almost
Where are
done.
you coming?
I'm almost
You just
done.
come up with
I'm
this
almost
crazy
done.
shit.
This is
No.
what we see because I said so.
No, it's
No.
because, yeah, that's because
Why
this
though?
is a-
Why
this is a-
Will
hold
sit?
on.
Why Will sit? Why do we see that? Why is that true, Will sit?
ahead,
How do you
go ahead.
Because
prove
we're
that?
not Superman, we can't see forever, right? I've already shown it to you. I'll present it again. You ignored it because all globers have to ignore it. It's funny. Here is
No,
actual
show me the
observation.
model where you have an apparent sun. Every single model I've seen this guy show me where the sun is rising is an apparent sun. You put it on a string and you put a ball on it and you move it with your hand. That's your model to show it setting. Give me a model where you have an apparent sun. And then also, don't just show me the sunset. Show me the sunset, go over top, rise, all the whole thing on your model. You don't. You show little teeny
Yes.
parts. Oh, I can make a straight string, make it look like it's setting, and therefore I'm
All
going
right,
to put
buddy.
that in my freaking
Chill
back pocket.
So we have a model, right? And it explains every single position of the sun throughout the entire year, throughout every single day. We have a model. It literally models it out, and you can see it. But this is just a fact. You say you have to make stuff up. No, you have to deny reality. So here is crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays from the outside, and they're curved because we have a limit to our perspective that's curved. Here are sundogs doing the same thing because we have a curved perspective limit. To think that you can see forever is an insane claim.
But we don't
okay?
see two suns. We don't see two suns. There was two suns on that last model you had there. You don't
No,
see
we
that.
see
Multiple.
crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays at the same time. So
But that's
here, I'll
not
show
two
you.
suns. That's not two.
Here, I'll
You're not seeing the
no.
sun. You're seeing an illusion. Yeah, there's diffusion in an atmosphere. You're going to see crepuscular rays. Well, you're not
No,
proving anything.
Oh, anti-crepuscular rays. So the sun is setting in the west, but as you turn to the east, so you're going to follow it overhead, it curves over your head and comes back down, and there are crepuscular rays in the east while the sun's setting in the west. So why does that happen?
Crepuscular rays. I don't know. I've never seen it happen.
Okay, well, here's a video of it. It's
There
called
you go.
crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays. This also explains the southern star trails. There's an illusion
Alright.
of a convergence due to limit of perspective, and to deny it is denying reality. And this has been observed
All right. Well,
hundreds of times.
let's just look at this macro stuff here. We've got the Tropic of Cancer, that's the short line, and the Tropic of Capricorn, that's a bigger line. So it should reasonably, everybody knows the sun, if it's doing 24-hour RPM, should be going faster in the Tropic of Capricorn than the Tropic of Cancer. June 21st,
Why the
December
analytics bigger
21st.
in the south. Go ahead.
Right. Well, listen. Either way, the sun should be going faster. So any city in the southern circumference should see a day on December 21st shorter than any city in the northern hemisphere of a similar latitude should see a day on June 21st. Would you agree? The sunlight, the actual sun, the appearance of the sun in the sky should be way shorter on a latitude in the south than it should be on a latitude in the north if it's June 24th and the 21st in the north versus December 21st in the south. Would you agree on the flat earth? Because it's going 24 hours every time. So there's no other way to look at that.
Yeah, it can
No?
just have different tangential speeds, but have the same angular speed. I said this at the beginning of the show.
But so the sun is not going to be covering a relatively fixed swath of Earth as it illuminates. You're saying that it can illuminate more here. I'm talking about the object sun in the sky. The sun itself, you can see in the sky. So you're telling me that you can see it longer in the sky in the south just because of the dome, is what you're saying.
No, what I said was that there can have different tangential speeds and the same angular speed. It can maintain 15 degrees per hour, but it can actually have different tangential speeds. And you keep ignoring this.
That's what
And
I'm
then we
saying.
actually
The
have
tangential
observations.
speed is the same.
We have
The
observations.
tangential
that-
speed is the same everywhere on a given latitude. It progresses throughout the day at the same tangential speed. That's the point. That's what I'm saying.
Angular speed. That's angular speed.
Angular
You don't
speed.
know the
Okay,
difference
well
in
then,
angular
so then
speed
why
and
does it?
tangent-
Okay. So from my vantage point, if I'm looking at the sun go through the arch, I'm looking at its angular speed.
That's
what you're saying?
correct.
So
That's
then
correct.
why does it go through its angular speed at the same duration of time each degree of arch?
Because
doesn't,
we
you
have
know-
it's on an, first of all, it's on an ecliptic, okay, and it has an angular speed. It's roughly 15 degrees per hour, right? That's how
Why
we
would it be
got
that if
clocks.
it's going if the distances of it are changing for me in constant fluctuation, the angular speed should not be constant. That's the point. Why is it
It's
constant?
because
It's not
you have the
NASCAR effect.
you have the same limit of perspective, dude. It doesn't change. You have the same limit of perspective. You think that we're Superman and can see forever or something?
No, I'm saying as the object is closer to you, it should be moving faster, like at a NASCAR race. It's just plain simple
No,
logic.
it shouldn't though, because we have a limit of perspective, dude. It's like the 20th time.
I understand there's a limit. It's on a linear scale. It should be always fluctuating. Always. If you see it, it should be fluctuating per second, per minute, per hour. That's all there is to it. No. Okay. Well, then we're going to agree we have different realities because that's the way it works. Anybody who's been to a NASCAR race has seen that.
Reality.
You're denying
just
reality.
denying it. Yes, you're
Yeah,
denying
I
it.
showed you
not-
crepuscular
look,
and anti-crepuscular race, and you're like, I've never seen that.
Proof that you want to move
Where
on
where are the whistleblowers talking about fucking flat
Oh
Earth?
my
Okay,
God, you're just spiraling.
If you got vaccines, if you got climate change, if you got 9/11, you got people with reputations who risk their reputations to come out and whistleblow. There's no money. There's no billion-dollar entity trying to push flat or trying to push globe Earth. There's billion-dollar entities pushing carbon tax. There's billion-dollar entities pushing all this shit. Nobody's actually pushing this shit.
Anthony, so now I'm going to address another false claim you just made. You said, where are the whistleblowers? What type of whistleblowers? You want pilots? We just released a 3-hour video of 27 pilots talking about how the Earth is flat.
No, I'm talking about astronomers and physics. People who do
I'm
physics.
responding to you. Stop yelling. I'm yelling now. Okay, it's my turn to yell. All right, we have pilots. We have astronauts. We have scientists. But anybody, a lot of them are afraid to do it publicly because they lose all of their funding. There's plenty of whistleblowers. But you waiting for it to be on CNN or something?
No, I'm waiting for there to be actual. You know what it's called? It's called righteous rage. The people like Edward Snowden. He doesn't want people to get spied on. He's pissed. He's going to come out about it. There's nobody. There's nobody.
There's literally astronauts that have come out and said no one's gone to space and the Earth is flat. There's literally former NASA employees. This is a fact. You can deny reality again, but interrupting me.
Listen.
Dude, my guy, tackling the guy as he goes to the basket doesn't mean you win the game. I told you this earlier, okay? So there are astronauts who say we did not actually go to space and the Earth is flat, okay? There are former NASA employees. There are former NASA employees who have said that the Earth is flat. One of them was stationed in Antarctica for 6 months and said you never see the 24-hour sun like the globe predicts. We have other NASA employees, other people that work for all kinds of different intel groups in the government coming out and saying that the Earth is actually a stationary topographical plane.
Who are they? Because you just said we have this person, we have that person, we have this person, we have that person. You didn't name a single person. I would like to look one of them up. So,
Anthony, I'm going to make it easy for you. Anthony, you obviously don't have my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And there's a what about pilots and scientists? Are they all in on it section?
Can I have some names?
Showing you where you can find all the information at your fingertips. Or maybe
no, I want the astronaut. I don't want the pilot. I want the astronaut. I want the NASA astronaut. I'm talking to Will Stitt. I'm talking to Wilson right now, Dave. Wilson said he had an astronaut. Wilson said he had an astronaut and I know they didn't, or I believe they didn't land on the moon for sure. That's a bunch of bullshit. They can't get out of low Earth orbit. But at the end of the day, I want to hear the astronaut himself, tell me that the Earth is flat. What's his name?
Okay, yeah, there's a cosmonaut who said that the Earth is flat and that we don't actually go to space. The NASA employee wasn't an astronaut; he was just stationed in Antarctica for NASA. And there's multiple NASA employees.
What's his name?
Said that the Earth.
What's his name? You haven't given me anybody's name. I want to look them up. I want to do research.
Do you remember the guy's name, the FE computer geek dude? Do you know his real name?
I don't, but it's in the frequently asked questions section. I can't remember everything. That's why I put it all in the app. You should get
but that's a very important thing. It's an actual credible source.
It's there.
Because like, what you're saying is like, what you're saying is
Anthony,
there's 100 videos
on
it.
It's there. The information is there.
All right, so
can I have the name? I know the name.
His name is Igor Volk is the astronaut, the cosmonaut that said we've never been to space. And there's another cosmonaut who says that we've never been to space and the Earth is flat. And he was asked a surprise question in the interview. And he said, I was not expecting this question, but yes, the Earth is in fact flat. And we've never been to space.
Video of him actually saying it is in that section in the app.
Well, I just want to know his name. But
Igor Volk.
Igor Volk. Igor.
IGORVOLK. It's one of the two.
All right. We'll look up
Go to
Igor.
Dave's app and you can see all of the people. It's been compiled for you.
Right.
And this is oftentimes censored, by the way. I wonder why they have to censor it. It's totally legit.
Well, I mean, it's just, you're going to have a.
So there you go.
What exactly does a cosmonaut do?
Man, and now move on to your next straw man, please.
Well, I just like to know what a cosmonaut does. I want somebody with some reputation.
He's an astronaut. That's an astronaut. It's an astronaut.
It's an
for Russia.
astronaut, or is it a philosopher?
Yeah. It's an astronaut for the Soviet Union, dude.
Okay. All right, cosmonaut, astronaut for Soviet Union.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
that's right.
Same thing as an astronaut.
So if you don't believe we went to the moon, why would you even believe this cosmonaut?
Well, I don't believe we went to the moon for plenty of reasons.
Why would you believe
Why
a
would I believe the
cosmonaut
cosmonaut?
saying that the Earth is flat?
I just believe anybody who's got their life on the line, a reputation under the gun, somebody who's got, somebody who's giving up something to save it. That's all.
I got a name for you. Look up Gus Grissom.
Gus Grissom.
Yeah.
What does he do?
Well,
He's an astronaut that tried to whistleblow, and they killed him.
They killed him. They literally killed him. So, like, this is what
the moon landing, or is he trying to say the Earth was flat? So you can't.
It was the moon landing.
A lot of people, the moon landing is not the Earth is flat. You can't
The moon
conflate
landing
those.
is to hide the flat Earth. That's all.
That's not his point, dude. Dave's
No,
point
it's not.
is that
The moon landing was to prove that we could go to the moon and we're better than Russia and all this other stuff.
for sure.
World.
The point was that when the astronauts come out and say things, there's been an astronaut killed for it. You're like, why don't people just do it? Because you die, because you have to sign NDAs. You're not allowed to do it, so you have to risk your life and do it. And look how it worked out for Ed Snowden. That worked out great for him. Yeah, so
Austin, who was the
Yeah,
guy?
I know, but at least he took the moral high ground. What kind of argument is that? What kind of argument is that? Edward Snowden did what he did, and he's not regretting it. I don't understand what kind of argument you're making.
How do you even know? Okay, Austin, who's the guy that was whistleblowing on NASA? He had a huge report, and then his house got robbed, and he got run over by a train that was owned by NASA.
I don't remember his name, but yeah, he literally got hit by a train owned by NASA. You got to look into it, man. I mean, this is what happens. Everyone that's really anti-flat Earth, they have yet to really understand what flat Earth is.
Do you have anything else? Do you want to move on?
But look. Okay, so Wellington, south latitude 41.2. Cheyenne, Wyoming, north latitude 41.14. How come December daylight 15 hours and 10 minutes in Wellington, daylight 15 hours and 9 minutes June 21st for Cheyenne? Why?
Wait, why is it shorter in the north?
No, it's 1 minute because look, the difference is 41.2 and 41.1. It's not the exact same latitude.
Okay, well go find it. So it's 1 minute per 0.1 degrees latitude.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying according to the sun, it should be way off. I mean, shit. According to your theory, it shouldn't be relatively close. Let's do a different one here. We're at 38th parallel.
No, but so you know, man, if you talk to people that have been sailing for their whole life, they say that when you're in the south on the ocean, that the sun the light disappears after the sun sets, as opposed to in the north, you can have like over an hour of light.
Yeah, where are you at? Because I remember reading Zetetic Astronomy, and there was Samuel Robothman going on about how the days in New Zealand were an hour shorter in the summer than the days in England in the summer. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock. It's 10 degrees higher in England than it is in the South in New Zealand. So that just makes all the sense in the world. But yeah.
No. Well, no. Do you agree that they at 6 months apart, the northern and southern corresponding latitudes, they have to have the exact same amount of daylight?
I mean, probably. I mean, exact would be, if it's a sphere, but if it's not a sphere, then no, it wouldn't necessarily be exact. So
yeah. On a sphere, basic geometry necessitates it would be exact. Yeah, the oblate spheroid doesn't mean anything.
Sphere, right? They say it's approximating a sphere, but it's not a sphere. It's they say the equator.
Change that. That's not going to change that at all.
So the amount that you can't even see from
space. Because it would change the circumference of whatever latitude you're on. So yeah, it would
14 miles at the equator is not going to change it in corresponding northern and southern latitudes.
They don't say that the rest of it is completely uniform. You're assuming that. I mean,
my God.
The circumference would make a difference.
A lumpy pair.
Making up excuses, dude. It's a geometric fact. They should be identical in the northern and southern latitudes.
If it was a sphere, absolutely. If it was a sphere. And look what I just showed you. Look what I just showed. I'm sorry we don't have seconds here. I mean, and maybe I could actually pull up one that's the exact same, and maybe it would be the exact same. It's just funny because either all these people that live on the 41st parallel are lying, or this is actually what happens in real life with date and time. I mean, it just blows up your argument. This is paradoxical to the flat Earth argument. Why are these things 1510, 15:9? How is that possible?
explain July the 8th on your day and time.
Wait, what's up? I'm trying. I'm trying to find a video for you because I don't think you understand our words.
So I'm gonna just jump in and say this right here. I kind of resent the whole implication that Witsit or even Dave is making up anything. I know for a fact, after watching Austin for quite a while now, I may not comment a whole lot, but I learn a lot. And I can say without a doubt that Austin does not say shit that he can't back up with.
Okay, Austin, are you willing to fly to southern point of South America on December 21st and watch the sun in the sky at 11 p.m.? I mean, would that change your opinion, or would you just say, oh no, that's the apparent sun and there's all types of other ad hoc arguments? Or if you actually went down to the southern area, southern periphery, and looked at a sun at 11 o'clock at night, because people do this with the flat earth argument, this whole thing has come about and they've contacted people from these areas and they've done this. And so what would you say to that?
Why would that be a problem for flat earth?
Because why would the sun be visible in the southern periphery if it's supposed to do a 24-hour track? How can it be there for so long at a single location? It's an apparent sun, of course.
How can it be there for? What are you talking about, bro? Like it merged. Look, I'm
Do you
just
have
gonna show you
date
the
and time?
model.
I can't pull the internet up because I got my phone up. Somebody pull up date and time. Go to that city in
I'm gonna show you the model.
Argentina or whatever it's called, down there in Patagonia, called Ushuaia or whatever. It's the southernmost city that's populated. And on December 21st, you can do a fucking live camera feed and look at the sun throughout the whole day. So,
All right. Look, bro. This is what the sun's doing throughout the year. Okay, it's moving in and out, and this is what gives us the analemma. All right, throughout the day, we're seeing the apparent position within our azimuthal grid, which is literally how we measure the sky for all recorded history. We use an azimuthal grid. We use a zenith and azimuth readings to get our elevation angles. This is what happens. It moves over top of us throughout the year. It moves in and out. That's it. We have the apparent position. What we see in that dome is what you're going to see from that position.
what do you mean it moves in and out?
This matches every observation on the Earth. Literally.
What do you mean it moves in and out? When you say it moves in and out throughout the year, was that literally the motion of the sun right there? It's just going back and forth over Asia?
Yeah,
No,
I'll show you. Watch.
Pull
Pull up my screen. Pull up my screen. Pull up my screen. Here's.
Whoops. My bad.
It travels in between the Tropic of Cancer, the inner yellow line, and the Tropic of Capricorn. So let's march it forward to it's August, September, October, November, December. In December, it's out there, still traveling 15 degrees per hour. It's Australia's summer because it's closer to them. And then it travels in to June to the Tropic of Cancer. And that's where we have our inner northern summer because the sun is closer to us. Right. And Australia and the southern locations have their outer winter. Now, if we go back to Austin's that Walter Lewin, not Walter Lewin, whatever that simulator he just had up. And Walter Business. Thanks, Walter. Austin, share your screen again. And if Austin you watch when he moves the sun in and out between the two tropics, which you just did not understand, hopefully you do now that I explained it, you'll see the pattern of dark and light. It changes and it wraps around. When it goes out, that light wraps around the dome, in my opinion, a bit. And we can show you what this looks like doing it with actual physical lights inside of domes where that light will wrap around.
All right, but none of that solves the paradox of the time thing I just gave you about the southernmost city. And then also show you the parallels and how the parallels are all equal to each other. You didn't address that at all. You just reiterated your model over and over again.
To each other.
You just reiterated what you believed to be happening and didn't exactly address.
You said we couldn't model it. I just gave you something that literally models every single day of the year perfectly on a flat Earth.
So then show me on that model the time of day exactly with dateandtime.com everywhere on the Earth.
That's where this data comes from. That's literally where the data comes from to make the model.
So has anybody pulled up that city, Ushuaia, whatever it is, June 21st or December 21st? I think it's in Chile or Argentina.
Yeah, just move the dome over down to South America, Witsit, and then put the sun close down there on the put it down into the tip of South America.
Why do you have to move that dome? What is that little dome
That's
you're
where
moving?
each observer is. It's the
where
azimuthal grid.
sees the sun.
Okay, so that's all they can see. So as the sun is way over to Africa in this situation, you're looking at it overhead. Like, put the sun over Africa while the observer's in South America.
Okay.
Are you all the way down in South America, Austin?
No. Put the observer in South America and put the sun over Africa.
Here, wait. Let me move the direction.
And there's actually a video in the sunset section on the app that actually shows this simulation zoomed in, and it shows how that light actually matches on a flat Earth model exactly what they experience.
Dude,
Except
every single
the
observation.
globe model does the same thing too. That's the
You
funny
said
thing.
we didn't have a model, though. That's what you said.
I
You said we weren't
just wanna
talking about the
I just wanna
globe
see
and that flat
South
Earth.
America. I just want to see South America at 11 p.m. in light, June 21st. I just like go to date and time and let's look it up. Because I can't pull away my shit right now.
The model that you
Date
wanted
and
to
time.
see that uses the date and time data.
Right. All right. So let's. I would love to see it.
It's using the date and time right there. You're seeing the actual date and time shit right there on that.
All right. So what time? What's the day of the month in this model? Can we do December 21st?
It's just labeled
December 21st.
It's labeled in hundreds of days. So like December 21st would be like 363 days or something, 361 days.
All right. So do one day of December 21st.
And look at that light wrapping around, giving you Shiwa a long ass day. I
meant December. Yeah. Okay, you Shiwa. All right, now play the whole day.
Okay.
Play the whole day.
Can you play it?
Yeah.
There's a play
So look,
somewhere.
It's in the light. It's in the light. Now watch that light that's wrapping around the dark is gonna hug you Shiwa, and it's gonna give it light for most of the day, like 17 hours. Okay.
Oh, so we should see the sun to the south.
We
should see the sun to the south.
Do you not see where the sun is in the grid?
No, I see it, but you're telling me that he's being illuminated from the southern periphery. But you're telling me Ushaya is being illuminated.
I'm not.
It's wrapping around.
Hey, Anthony, you're gonna have to look back at this and dig a little deeper because you're not gonna learn it from walking around with your iPhone like a mental patient.
Yeah.
And I have everything laid out right here. I just would take me forever to save all these. So I have like literally every solstice laid out. I have it all mapped out. Shane just sent me everything. He's mapped it all out in visual.
That is really cool. That right there is really cool because the data is coming from dateandtime.com. So
correct.
There it is all in one package. That's
right. But you have to have the sun wrapping around the back of a dome, which you've never photographed or seen or done anything. So we have to assert that there's a dome. It's wrapping around the dome.
The globe model claims there's a azimuthal grid of vision. That's how they plot the sky. That's how we see the world. And Dave, just check this out on my app. If you hit the web button for everybody else, scroll to the bottom where it says, thanks, Walter. Why isn't that showing? Oh, right there. Thanks, Walter. Hit that. On your phone, you can pull up that entire thing and play with it just like Austin's doing.
Yeah, I'll have to because of the fact that you're going to have sun in Ushaya and Australia, but you're not going to have any at the North Center. It just doesn't make any sense unless you play with the sun's wrapping around and doing all this other wild shit that nobody's proven.
I think it's important to note too that there is, I believe, a difference between daylight and sunlight. Although the daylight is caused by the sun, it is not light from the sun.
Right. I just like to talk about what we observed, like the ball sun in the sky going at the same angular speed throughout the entire course of the day, despite the fact that the distances relative to the observer are different.
Strawmanning again. You're making a false claim.
I'm not strawmanning. I witnessed it with my own eyes. You can tell me that at the very end you can measure some bullshit, but it doesn't negate the fact that it should be a linear relationship. It does not describe the relationship you are trying to describe. It doesn't.
Did you go over all three of your points yet?
No, I didn't. The other one was why. So if the stars are really far away, right? If they were, let's say, if the Earth was rotating or revolving around the sun, and the stars were far away, would you see parallax? Would you see parallax on the stars?
We wouldn't be able to see them.
Dude.
What if they were so big? What if they were so big that you could see?
So
Wait, do you not know what parallax is? Parallax claims that the stars look like they move, but it's actually just an illusion because the Earth is moving and you just can't tell. So obviously on a stationary Earth, it would just be that the stars are moving.
Right. I thought parallax was the constellations changing relative to each other.
And they don't.
It's first of all, it's just a claim that isn't even actually measured. Even if it was measured, it would just be that those stars are changing position in the rotation around the stationary Earth. It wouldn't mean.
So you don't think that you would see parallax, or you wouldn't see any constellation change if the Earth was moving?
No, that's not what I said. I said even if you did see parallax, it would work perfectly fine on a stationary Earth.
No, I'm saying, would you see? I'm just asking if you think we would or would not. The only reason I ask is because on the flat Earth model, the sun is so close that you would see parallax just going from California to New York. I mean, the stars over top, if you're looking at Orion's belt 1, 2, 3 when it's overhead, when it's on the horizon, you're viewing it at a completely different angle. You wouldn't be seeing 1, 2, 3. You'd be seeing a straight line. So the fact that the constellations maintain their same constellation throughout the whole day, even though the objects are going away from you and you're viewing them at a different angle, that's just completely paradoxical to the flat Earth model.
Well, what you don't understand is that they do change position. They literally change position as you change position on the Earth, and they claim it's because the Earth is curving. But in fact, it's just because you're getting further away from local stars.
No, they change position because the Earth is turning or they're moving themselves. That's the only.
No.
I'm talking about a given.
I'm
talking about
stars change position.
House.
The stars change position on the Earth. As we change locations on the Earth, the stars change position.
All right, forget about the location.
They claim that it's because
the guy going for the shot.
curving.
You're answering a question I didn't ask. I'm saying if I'm in a specific location, my house doesn't move. Okay? The stars overhead of me are moving. They're moving. So when they're overhead, and as opposed to when they're on the horizon, they should look completely different. The constellations should look not just a little different, completely different. You're viewing it from it's like my buddy Pedro would go out in the West Coast and see a mountain and go, that looks like a lizard. And I go, Pedro, if you got in a helicopter and flew over it, it wouldn't look like a lizard. So, you know what I'm saying? The angle is going to change based on how you look at it. If the stars are that close to you.
They do.
And he's trying to say that when you look at them from a different angle, their arrangement between each other, their perspective, their parallax would change because you're looking at it.
The constellation stays the same.
Right.
No matter where it's viewed, no matter where you're looking at from your perspective, if I'm standing at my house, when it's on this horizon overhead or this horizon, the constellation doesn't change, despite the fact that each of those objects are apparently different objects. And they're all moving at different speeds, doing their own different thing. But I'm looking at them at a different angle now, and they all look the exact same. Doesn't make any sense.
The sky is huge and it moves around the Earth. It's not complicated.
But the distance is, what don't you understand? If the thing is above a flat plane, you're looking at it at a different angle. Draw the triangle. Here I am. It's straight up a 90-degree angle. Go 3,000 miles to California. If they're over there, now I'm not looking at them straight up 90 degrees. I'm looking at them 45 degrees or a different angle. So there's no way you would see the constellation the same on the horizon that you see it over top. Doesn't work that way. And you also see concentric circles going around the southern celestial pole and concentric circles going around the northern celestial pole. You see counterclockwise in the north and clockwise in the south.
Yeah, you're scattergunning, but here's what we see right here. We see the north and the south. So that's why I tried to explain to you crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays, which means that due to perspective, it will
go back to the other one. Go back one scene.
Okay, but I'm trying to explain the first part of this video because you're not going to understand it. So this is just like crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays. This is due to perspective. When we look in the opposite direction of the sun, you have to listen, man.
Anthony, listen.
But why are you doing it on a 2D flat globe Earth?
Listen.
Just watch the presentation, then ask.
Okay.
Yeah. So whenever we look at the sun, it's setting in the west. If we turn 180 degrees behind us, we'll see crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays. We'll see it converging in the opposite direction to a single point. Even though the sun's in the other direction, it looks like it's converging to a singular point east while the sun's setting west. It's because that's how perspective works, which is what I was explaining to you earlier. So on a flat earth, if you have the stars moving counterclockwise over top of you, if you look south, you're going to see the opposite rotation because of what angle or what direction you're looking. And then you're going to see this is a fact. And then you're going to see a convergence point.
What? Okay, that's why rotational direction is different than east-west. That's why you guys get so confounded with this whole situation. You focus on east-west, east-west. No, clockwise is clockwise. Counterclockwise is counterclockwise. Take a clock and flip it upside down. It's still going clockwise.
Anthony, let me ask you a question. Look at me, okay? Are you looking at me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this clockwise or counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise.
No, it's clockwise. This is my right hand. I'm going clockwise. Why do you see it
Right.
counterclockwise?
Yeah, but
clockwise. I'm making a clockwise circle.
yeah, but I don't know. It just
But I don't know exactly.
But look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, but
All right, here we go. Here we go. This is the way the Earth turns, right? It rises in the east first, sets to the west. Which way is the North Pole spinning? Go ahead, answer the question. What way is that North Pole spinning?
Which way is the North Pole spinning?
Right now.
Counterclockwise.
All right, I'm going to keep spinning it the same way. Well, which way is the South Pole spinning now?
So you're just proving our point.
No,
Yeah.
it works on the globe.
Well,
It doesn't work
flat
on
Earth.
yours because on your flat pizza Earth, if you're staring south in flat pizza
don't
Earth
know.
staring south, everything is a different direction. There's infinite directions when you're going south. So
You
how
don't
can we all
understand
look
it.
south and see the same objects? It doesn't make
Okay,
any
but-
sense. What is sigma?
Are you going to
octant-
listen, dude? You got to
I
listen.
didn't
This
even-
is
I didn't
something
even
that you
let me-
clearly
you
don't
didn't
Ask
let
a
me
understand.
question
talk.
and listen to the answer. Ask a question, then listen to the answer.
Yeah, like
That's
you're not understanding, man. I keep
Okay,
trying
so
to explain to you.
here's
Hey,
my
you're
question.
also not listening. Go ahead.
Well, let me ask the question. Why, if you look south from all different areas on the Earth, do you point at the exact same direction?
Okay, south is relative to north. So if you're gonna look right here, this is what you want us to explain: is why are the stars moving in opposite directions? If you look right
okay.
here, just listen. You have an
I
azimuthal
just
grid,
asked a
dude.
different question. You told me to ask a question, you would answer it. I asked it. Now you're answering a different question. But okay.
What was your
I
question?
said, why, when you look south, no matter where you are on the Earth, do you look at the same point? If it's a pizza,
Okay, I'm
and you're
trying
looking
to
away from
explain
the
it
north.
to you.
Explaining that you have to
Okay.
get background for it, man.
Basically, your question is, if you were on a flat Earth and you were looking south, it would be in a bunch of different directions, so you wouldn't see the rotation south in all of them, right? That's your question. Okay, I'm trying to explain it. First of all, if you actually look where you see, like, say, the Southern Cross relative to the Southern rotation, they do change position based on where you are on the Earth. They're not exactly south. They're actually south-southwest at different elevations based on your southern continent. This is a fact. In fact, it doesn't match. It doesn't match the globe model, actually, because you're not looking at the same stars. It only matches a flat Earth, and never will this be rebutted. But the point is that when you listen, please listen carefully. If you have stars rotating over top of the Earth, okay, they're rotating a single way. They're counterclockwise over the Earth. You're looking north, you see them moving counterclockwise. If you turn south, they're going to look like they're going clockwise because of perspective. So you're denying perspective again, even though Dave just showed it to you. So it's like
no. Look. He didn't show it to me. He showed me facing me something different. Put on above you, a clock above you. Make it go clockwise. Now turn your body any goddamn way you want to turn it. It's still going clockwise. He's looking at it from the other direction.
Yeah,
he made me look at it from the other face. He's doing two-dimensional object. Your flat Earth isn't a three-dimensional object. It's a two-dimensional object. That's why it doesn't work. You have three dimensions. Yeah, you can make it spin the other way when you look at it from the other direction. That's why the Earth works. The ball Earth works. It doesn't work.
No, okay, well, let's listen. Things look like they go down due to perspective. Right? Things look like they go down, so then you're going to be viewing them straight on, even though they're actually above you, because they're further away, they look like they go down. Please tell me you don't deny that things look like they go down in the distance.
Yeah, they look like they go down if they're. But the point is, it's doing concentric circles around a southern celestial pole. It's the point in the center that they're doing the circles around. They're not going over to South America if they're in Australia. They're staying south of Australia. If you're in South America, they're not traveling over to Australia. They're staying south of South America. And Sigma Octantis is the one that's directly south. So that one shouldn't ever be anywhere other than directly south of wherever the one person on the flat pizza Earth is looking at it. If you're looking at Sigma Octantis and it's not moving, you shouldn't be able to look at it on the other side of the Earth.
First of all,
completely over here in the southern sky.
You don't look at Sigma Octantis. It can't be observed with the best commercially available telescope in the world. So when you say you're looking at, you just make stuff up.
What?
That's a fact. See, you don't even know.
Okay, listen, even it's a southern celestial point. It doesn't even have to be a star. It's a point with which everything goes around. It doesn't have to be anything.
I'm going to explain it one more time. I'm only going to explain it one more time. Just like with the crepuscular and anticrepuscular rays, it looks like it's converging to a point. It looks like the rays are converging to a point. Just like when we look south, there's a convergence point. Okay?
Right.
That's because of perspective. When we look away from it, even though the sun is actually in the west, when we look east, it looks like it's converging to a point as if there's another sun over there and the rays are converging on it, but there's not. It's just a perspective effect, okay? Same thing happens when we look south. It looks like it's converging to a point because it reaches our limit of perspective. The reason it spins the other way is because you're looking the opposite direction away from north. This explains exactly why we see a southern star trail.
No, that doesn't explain it. It only works on the three-dimensional situation. Seriously, take a clock and put it on your ceiling and look at it and stand 10 feet from it way over here and look at the clock. Now come over here and look at the clock. All right, now come over here and look at the clock. It's not going to change. It's not going to change perspective.
But that's not how we see it.
It's directional rotation.
Hang the clock from the ceiling so it's upright. And the stars are going from the left of the room over the top to the right of the room. Watch it from one side of the room. It's going clockwise. Go to the other side and watch it. It's going the opposite direction.
But you don't have that in your model. You don't have a vertically hanging thing. You have it hanging horizontally over top.
That's how
you have it hovering over top. You even said 6,000 feet was your figure for the sun.
Dave. You're not listening. That's how perspective works. Like when you look at street lights down the street, it looks like they're going down. So when you look like, even though they're higher than you, you can look straight out and see them as if they're in front of you because of perspective. The same thing happens with this.
I'm not denying that. That's not my contention at all.
So then it would spin the opposite way.
No, it wouldn't spin the opposite. If something's above you spinning in concentric circles, it doesn't matter below it where you go. You have to get to the other side of it. You have to get on top of it looking down for it to be spinning now the other direction. That's why it works with a two-dimensional Earth, because it's top, bottom.
Incorrect.
You don't understand it.
You don't understand it. Literally do it. Take the clock and put it on the wall. It doesn't matter where you stand underneath it. It's still spinning clockwise versus counterclockwise. You can't change that. You can't. If you're looking at the same clock,
if it was the world's biggest clock, then you would see it spin the other way because it would be such a big clock that when you look in the distance, it's going to look like the clock is dropping down towards the convergence point.
Sure, but it's not going to make it spin the other way. It'll never make it spin the other way. You're just coming off your ass with that one. You're never going to make it spin the other way. If the clock is above you and you're not changing your orientation of your body.
Can I yell louder than you? Shut up for a second. Okay? Take that clock. Spread it out to the size of the entire giant room that you're in. It's going clockwise, okay? All right? And then you're going to see it on that wall looking one way. It's going clockwise. So it's rising on your left shoulder and it's going over your right shoulder. Turn around. It's rising on your right shoulder and going over your left shoulder. Okay? It's still spinning east to west, but it's changing your direction. Okay?
Right, but the sun is not in front of you, as your friend had just said. Your sun is over top of you. It only appears to be in front of you. You're not actually turning around. The thing is still above you, spinning the same direction, no matter what you want to say. No matter what you want to say, it's still above you.
Rise on the east, set in the west. When you turn around, it's going...
But as you said, it doesn't set.
Your left shoulder, your right shoulder, and then your right shoulder, your left shoulder.
But it doesn't set. It only appears to set, right? It's not.
That's why it looks like it's spinning. That's why it looks like it's spinning the opposite way. This is common sense. I tried to show you crepuscular and anticrepuscular rays, and you just can't even wrap your mind around them. So say that I look west, and then the sun is setting, and I see the rays converging onto the sun. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I turn around and look the opposite way. I see the same thing, even though the sun's in the west. In the east, it looks like there's another sun or something because the rays are converging. Now let's spin them. Wait, now let's spin the convergent rays. Okay. So if we start spinning them as we're looking west, if we spin them counterclockwise, as I look over my head and turn around, they're going to be spinning clockwise around that other convergence point because of perspective. It's
exactly
very simple.
You can't change your back on the stars. Yes, if I see the stars going clockwise above me, and then I look at the ground, okay, now they're going counterclockwise behind me. Okay, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. What you're saying makes absolutely no damn sense. You're saying it's above us.
Oh my
It's
God.
maintaining the same the observer and the clock are maintaining the same orientation to each other at the same time. You're saying the observer just needs to spin around in a circle and it can change the way the clock is spinning. That's not the way it works.
What?
You're coming off your ass.
Can I ask you a question? You saw that corpuscular and anti-corpuscular rays? You got the sun over here on my right hand, and it's turning, and then you have the anti-corpuscular rays on the other side. You understand that, right?
I saw your diagram.
So hold on. So when I look this way, it's going counterclockwise, and when I look this way, it's going clockwise.
What don't you understand about the fact you've changed the orientation of your corpuscular? You've literally put your whole body on the other side of the corpuscular rays. The stars are always above you. You never put your body above the stars to look down on them for them to be going the other way. The only way this would work is if you're on a three-dimensional object that's spinning the same. Another thing. Why is everything on a 24-hour clock?
We got to wrap it up unless he's got.
Why is everything on a 24-hour clock? This is the other thing that gets me. You guys are spinning around. You see all these objects in the sky. They're all doing different, the same RPM, but they're all different speeds. They're all moving to maintain the same everything is in perfect lockstep above the earth, as if you're on a merry-go-round. And you think the bench, the floor, the cloud, the sky, the trees, they're all going at the same speed around you while you're going on a merry-go-round. You're going, I'm going still. Everything else is just in completely lockstep together. Different objects moving different speeds, but somehow they're just creating this effect that they're all a constellation moving together. Just that to me is just such a fantastical.
What? Why? What? That everything moves around the Earth, dude. It's very
why
simple.
is it locked together? Why is it all on the same RPM, despite the fact that they have different circumferences? Why are they on the same RPM? That would only suggest that we're rotating. That is the most plausible.
All of the lights in the sky are fixed in their position. Okay, they're all
or the
fixed
sky rotates.
If we lived in this heliocentric beehive, traveling 4.4 billion miles a year in 4 different directions, the stars would constantly change, but they're always exactly the same.
Well, unless they were like hundreds of whatever light years away. So I'm not challenging all that, but the math will work out eventually.
Why don't you challenge that?
The math can work out. You're not proving anything wrong by saying, wow, it's really far.
Again, you're making a false claim again. If you look at the angular size of stars, we couldn't see Polaris at a light month away. And they tell us it's 433 light years away. You couldn't see it at a light month or a light year or whatever. I think it's even less than that, right?
Why couldn't you see it at a light year away?
Because its angular size gets too small. How do we know that? Well, they tell us the sun is, 93 million miles away. If the sun was right next to the Earth, it would fill the entire sky. If it was a mile over your head at noon, it'd fill the whole sky. Move it 93 million miles away, it's the size that we see it, the size of like a nickel or a dime held at arm's length. Double that distance, it'll be a quarter of the size. Double that, it would be a 64th of that size. Double that, you probably couldn't see it. That's a light hour. Okay?
Yeah.
So at a light hour, well, they tell us Polaris is 46 times. Let's make it 48 times bigger than the sun. So if we made it 48 light hours away, 2 light days, it would be tiny. Then we made it 4 light days away, you wouldn't be able to see it. 8 light days away, absolutely couldn't see it. Round up to a fucking year. Sorry, Austin, more push-ups. Round up to a year, you could not see it. Okay, but
right. But we don't know how big it is, right? We don't know how big it is or how far it is. It could be bigger.
Keep saying I'm almost done until you shut up. Okay.
All right. Well, hurry up, please.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know that we could just let you talk forever, and I have to go really quick. Right?
I want to go back and see who's done the most talking. It'd be funny to hear that.
You threw out. I'm sure the math would work out. You're sure but it doesn't
No.
work out because you've never done the math.
No,
right?
I didn't
And
say
then
I'm
you have
sure
the
the math will
inverse
work
square
out.
law issue where the light gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer exponentially, but you ignore
Right.
that also, right? The moon.
No,
for
I'm
us
not
to see it-
ignoring that. The square light law
I'll just
doesn't
stop.
mean anything. It could be larger and further away. It doesn't mean anything. Okay.
So,
All right.
so
Finish.
you're
Let him
saying
finish.
that all of the sizes of the stars and the distances are wrong and they're bigger. Is that what you're saying? So you're saying, according to the
No.
heliocentric model, Polaris would have to be 90 trillion times bigger than they tell us it is. That's what you're
No,
saying?
no. What I'm saying is that if the stars were low, if the stars were local, you would see parallax as it went on through the day. From California to
No.
New York, you would see
If
a
they're
different. You
fixed
would see a
in the
different
sky
constellation.
and the sky is rotating around us, they would not have any parallax. Just like we
No,
say.
I'm not. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying
Hey,
from an
Dave,
observer.
Dave, we're gonna have to wrap it up. We gotta wrap it
All
up.
right.
This is going,
All right,
going
but
nowhere.
you would see the parallax because the distance of the object from the observer is in constant fluctuation. There's no way that you would be seeing it from the same angle. You'd be looking at it from a different angle.
That's
Period.
not
All right.
reality.
Well, you
That's
don't
not
understand
reality.
anything, my friend. Anything.
That-
You
Okay.
Can we
don't
just have like a
understand
quick
anything.
uninterrupted closing of piece and then we can wrap it up?
Yeah,
go ahead, Austin.
Who wants to go first to close this out?
Austin, go ahead.
Okay. I get the tactic, which is like all the flat earthers want to talk about the globe and we should just talk about flat earth. And then it's like a bunch of straw mans about flat earth. And that's a cool tactic or whatever. But this is the thing. The default position is that the earth is a plane, right? The horizon's horizontal. We fly planes like it's a plane, right? That's why it's called a plane. We literally fly it like it's stationary. We build everything like the earth is flat. That's how we establish level. That's how we measure elevation. Everything that we do is as if the earth is a stationary topographical plane. All observations show us that everything moves around the earth like a clock for all recorded human history. So that's the default position. The default position, the claim that it's actually a tilted, wobbling, spinning, revolving water ball in a vacuum defying physics, that's the positive claim antithetical to empirical evidence. So you can say, well, let's not talk about the globe. Flat earthers always talk about the globe. Yeah, because we have all empirical evidence. It's the default position. And we're saying, look at this other claim they propagandize us with. It isn't true. We tested it. It's false. It has no evidence. So that's the actually intellectual way to go about it, okay? Is to test the claim antithetical to the evidence. And when you do that, and you test the radius value, if it's been falsified, which means the Earth's a plane, just like we always observe it to be, always measure it to be, and always utilize it to be. So you can come up with all kinds of questions about, well, how does the sky work if the Earth is flat? Well, if I strawman flat Earth, this should happen. But that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. We are giving you answers, but we don't have to. But we gave you the answers. So you have to step back and be like, wait a minute, can I substantiate my positive claim of the Earth that's antithetical to all the empirical evidence and measurements? Because that's how we actually go about it. And it seems like no one ever wants to do that. They want to avoid the globe, pretend the globe is perfect, and then say flat earth needs to answer everything in the universe or checkmate, stupid flurf. And that's ridiculous. It's just goofy.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
So who wants to go next?
I'll just throw
Dave?
in the horizon is our horizontal eye zone, also known as our horizon. It's horizontal. All horizontals are parallel with each other. That can't happen on a ball. That's it. Austin summed it up well. The horizon is horizontal. It's not the curvizon.
Right. I've noted that myself. That thing that you guys just put up, that's a globe killer. That one with the airplane, where they're showing it in real time, and also a simulation on Google Earth, and the stars on Google Earth are flying up over top of it, and this one just stays. It just goes a little bit east. That's it. I was like, there you go. That's a killer right off the bat. But another thing, if you guys got just a minute, and then Anthony, I'll give you a minute to give your thing. This was really cool on the whole idea of let me pause this just for a second. It's only real short, but the buoyancy and density factor involved. This is really neat. I don't know if you've seen this yet or not, Dave or Witsit, but I just got a hold of this the other day, and I don't know. Hopefully the sound will share through. I had trouble the other night, but you'll be able to see what happens anyway. So I'm going to pull that up and I'll hit play. Well, maybe.
We have a balloon that's floating, a balloon that's just hanging in the air. And we're going to see
Can y'all hear that?
And like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Would it
We
be a difference?
played this in Globusters this week.
I don't know. I think that maybe this one will be a little bit more grounded.
Right.
Because I don't know. That's just my
Alright.
that's my hypothesis.
Let's try it.
Okay.
Sarah, go ahead and punch it. All right, emergency stop.
See, that's a helium balloon in the orange, and the yellow's regular air.
When we accelerated, we got pushed backwards,
Yes.
essentially, but the balloon went
It
forward.
did. It went forward.
What's going on?
I don't know. Is it just because of the weight of what's inside the gas?
You're on the right track.
Okay.
This van is filled with gas. It's filled with air.
Yeah.
Sarah, go ahead and punch it again. Goes forward.
Uh-huh.
Emergency stop. Quick. Goes back.
Wow.
Okay, the air inside of the van is actually at rest. When she accelerates,
Mhm.
more air gets back here, and up front where they are,
Mhm.
there's a little bit less air.
And is that why
It's
the
a little bit
balloon
less
is
dense.
drawn that way?
Yeah, helium balloons float upwards into the upper atmosphere because it's less dense higher that you go.
Huh.
Okay, so it's trying to find a place where the density of the air is equal to its density, which
And it
is
can do that quickly.
yeah. Do it again, Sarah. One more time. And then stop fast. All the way back. It's just
Wow.
so.
As I'm
Isn't that crazy?
It's coming back
The
at
balloon
me.
goes back. So we're gonna actually try going through a loop-de-loop up here and see what
Okay.
happens when we go in a circle with our balloons.
Okay.
So look, take us around this loop pretty quick. We're gonna make a left-hand turn fast,
And they go in
They go in opposite directions.
directions.
and the line connecting them almost even looks the same.
It does.
All right, punch it. Goes forward, and give us stop, and it goes back. Good thing you're
Wow.
wearing the seatbelt.
Yeah, and you can hear my emergency
Yeah.
pull
So-
in there.
So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of an interesting display of that, because all the time you hear them, even though Archimedes' principle outdates the whole Newton thing by like 2,000 years and shit, they always want to throw in that G. They always, well, buoyancy and density are totally dependent upon gravity, and it's like, well, how is gravity working sideways then? What was involved there with the gravity, right? So anyway, Anthony, let me go ahead and give you last word. Holy shit, what do we got? Oops, wait, I gotta do
We
it
got
down here.
just what we witnessed was what we got.
Basically, there's nobody from the legitimate scientific community that's fucking saying any of this shit. And basically, the NASCAR effect, we don't view it. We don't view the NASCAR effect. Where's the NASCAR effect? Where's the parallax on all the stars? Why is the date and time the same for all the latitudes? Think about these questions, people. Why is every southern direction the same exact point? Why they got southern celestial poles? Why they got northern celestial poles? Why they got it, people? All right, do your own thinking. Do your own thinking.
Yeah.
I got my well-worded
I'll answer
Witsit
here.
guy. He's a very articulate man. Okay, he's been in this debate multiple times. Okay, I've spent very little man hours thinking about
Agreed.
this shit. But thanks to David, I've thought about it enough to agree to come on here. All right.
Yeah.
Now you guys are professionals in this shit. That's why we got you on here. Okay. There's somebody else, Mr. Witsit, you can ask about this shit that will give you a much better answer than me. Y'all
He's done it.
are
He's
the
done it.
experts for this flat earth shit. That's why I'm pointing the fingers at you, boy. All right. You want to find somebody who's got more fucking wit than me, you can do it. All right. That ain't no problem. I'm out here just trying to be a man, live my life. And that's another point. Ultimately, there are no consequences of the earth being flat for me. I could wake up tomorrow, the earth be flat, ain't no goddamn thing going to change in my life. Okay?
What does it matter thing? What difference does
Right. So bottom line is we're monkeys arguing over the shape of our cage. You know what I'm saying? We need to
Yeah,
figure out how to
same thing.
come together. We need to figure out how to love each other. All right?
All right, wait. It was
Hey,
just,
Anthony, I
it
just
was
want to
just my
say,
final
I want to
thoughts,
say,
not a slow-
I'm thanking God right now that you are not a flat earther. Thank God you're not on
Bro,
our
I think
side.
that's awesome, bro. Someone needs to clip that.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
clipping it. It's already clipped.
definitely,
You kidding me?
definitely.
I've already uploaded it to 4 platforms.
Have you guys even seen this kind of melon? This is called a Korean melon. All right. I grow this
Oh,
shit.
boy.
These are ground cherries. This is a cactus from the desert. I'm out here in Virginia, y'all. I'm out here in mother effing Virginia.
All
You
right.
want to see what I got going on here? I got gardens.
All right,
All right.
we're kind of going.
We
off
gotta
the
go.
rails
We
and
gotta
shit
go.
here. But anyway, I
Awesome.
wanted to
Okay,
give you
bro.
a minute, Dave. I wanted to give you a minute too. Witsit, I want to thank you for coming on too. There was some stuff I kind of wanted to get to too about some Southern Star shit that I get a lot of times. And another one about this Qantas Flight 27. I suspect trade winds, but I don't know even if the flight's for real. But anyway, Dave, I want to give you a minute to go ahead and plug your app because it's fantastic. My wife and I both have it. I have it on my tablet. I have it on my phone. I use it as a demonstrative tool to show people. And I've brought a lot of people to Flat Earth right here in my own front room in person. So,
Hey, what's the name of this app?
You can find it at flatearthdave.com. It's the banner right at the top. It's very easy. Flatearthdave.com. Here it is. Flat Earth isn't dying. And you can also find the conference, the online conference, so 2 or 3 times a year that I forget the name of, but the banner is at flatearthdave.com. It's all you got to remember is flatearthdave.com. These are the Flat Earthers just here on the East Coast. Okay. So Flat Earth isn't dying. Flat Earth is absolutely taking off and amazing. And the app's doing so many things. Huge update coming up with the profile section. It's going to make it a lot like Facebook, have friends and communicate, all sorts of stuff. But everything that he said is in that he asked at the end there. They're all answered here. Like, hey, why does it matter? If you don't know why it matters, watch these videos, right? What about seasons? What about time zones? It's all answered here. Stuff that is being hidden from you by Google and YouTube, whatever, same thing. So that's it. Flatearthdave.com if you want to find all my information that's there. And if you don't want to get the app, that's fine. The app's $3. There's the crash course on there. Just watch the crash course, and you too will become a flat earther, period. Austin.
It's a great way to lose friends and family. I can tell you.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And gain a whole new family of friends. All those blue dots. Okay. I've never met a blue dot I don't like.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for the flat earthers, I wouldn't have even been thinking about this shit and been so convinced that it's not flat. So I appreciate you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. Yeah, I want to say, I will say, I'm on my channel. What's it gets, most of you guys probably know, but that's all no scientists, dude. I debate the scientists, bro. I debate them about geocentrism. I debate them about all of it. So you guys can just go check that out. We have a lot more coming. I have a few physicists lined up. I debate them all about what they think gravity is. They admit that they could be completely wrong and don't have evidence for it. They admit that all observations show the Earth's in the center, and that the heliocentric cosmology is falling apart, etc. So I honestly, if you can get any physicist or astrophysicist or astronomer or quote unquote scientist to come sit down and have a real debate about it, I openly welcome and invite them to do so, because honestly, they're usually more capable of debating it than the people we run into. And let's just be honest, they get dunked on. So it's a misnomer.
Austin has a series called Schooling Globers. It's right here in the homeschool section of the app. Amazing. If you really want to learn some deep, into star rotation, into gravity, into whatever, just go to that list and start watching those videos. But again, belief is the enemy of knowing. As Crow 777 Radio says, it's easy to believe. You can believe whatever you want. And then you could watch reifying videos by, known liars and trolls, or you can take the time and the effort and actually use your brain to fully understand that we're on a flat, horizontal, topographical, non-rotating plane.
Right on. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming on. Dave, I believe you're going to the Flattoberfest.
October 21st, 20th and 21st in Las Vegas, and flatearthdave.com. There's a big Flattoberfest banner right there if you want to learn more about it. Great speakers there, and great people.
Well, I'm going to be seeing you there. I'm looking forward to it myself.
Awesome.
And Austin, great. I love watching your stuff, especially when you're tearing up people like McToon and Red's Rhetoric. That's awesome. I've had my own encounter with Red, and it didn't go well for Red. So
Flattoberfest is the 21st and 22nd, not the
21st and
whatever
22nd.
that weekend.
Where are you going to be? Where are you going to be for Flattoberfest?
It's
Las Vegas.
On a need-to-know basis. Don't tell them.
Why don't we go north to Reno, Pyramid Lake, Reno? Let's do that that shit with a helicopter.
We've done
Flattoberfest.com or flatearthfestivals.com. I think I'm speaking there. We may have an in-person debate. It's going to be dope. So,
do you guys want to hear my argument for why I think the moon landing couldn't work?
Not really.
Nah.
All
right. Thanks, guys.
All right,
guys.
All right, much love.
Everybody.
Later.
Goodbye.
All right. So that just leaves you and me, Anthony. I'm going to, let's see, we've been on for an hour and a half. What's your schedule look? Because if you want, what I can do is I can add some people if anybody wants to come up and discuss any of this debate, any of the
No, I just want them to show me a video of them in the Northern Hemisphere looking at star trails doing this, then turn around and show me them do the other thing. He's got that way wrong, but whatever.
He actually showed a video on that, but you kept talking over him. And
No, I saw his video. He kept saying, because the guy was saying, look at it from a different angle, turn around now. No, he's putting the stars behind him in this situation. That didn't work out. The other one, he's literally above the stars. The stars are always above us, right?
Naughty Hippo has put the link for the Flattoberfest, flatearthfestivals.com link in the chat for anybody that's interested in that. It should be pretty good. Brian Staveley should be there. Karen B is going to be there, I know. And a host of other people that you may recognize, and also just people that maybe you've only run into in the chat in these forums. So that could be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I know that there's people that watch my channel that are looking forward to meeting me and talking to me as well. So that ought to be pretty damn good. What debates? A screaming match? Yeah, right. So I'm going to give everybody.
And that's my problem. I can't debate. This is an exercise for me in how to even try to debate. I can't do it. I get emotional. It's just the way it is. If somebody disagrees with me, I just start getting loud. So, and it really doesn't matter what the topic is.
Well, see,
so and honestly, this is me reserved. You want to see some real shit.
That's the problem. You can't have a discourse. When people are talking over the middle of somebody's point, asking a question completely tangent to the subject at hand.
Right.
Answer.
I would like to go back and do a clock and see who got to talk the longest, because he kept accusing me of not letting him talk, and I feel like he was doing a hell of a lot more talking than me. But at the end of the day,
what I saw was you kept interrupting him. He
kept interrupting me too. It was a two-way street. He was interrupting me just as much as I was interrupting him. I couldn't get 10 seconds out.
Like you're doing to me right now. Okay. Whereas I'm trying to finish a point, but before I can finish the point, you're already interjecting. And see, and no information can be actually obtained if you know how CB works, right? If you've got the microphone keyed up, you can't receive a signal. Right. So that's it. And if you keep keying up the mic in the middle of the broadcast that you're trying to receive, you're not going to receive it all. And that's a problem. And that's why it's difficult to have discourse when that goes.
Right. And if I'm talking and they interrupt me, then that's them doing the exact same thing to me that they're accusing me of doing to them. And then it's just, if I'm getting pointed the finger on for that one, and I guess it's just everybody's being biased. But it's, it's whatever. I understood I was coming onto a flat earth channel to argue the flat earth with, 3 people who literally sit here all day and argue the flat earth. So, it's not a surprise to me that I don't have a response for, all their talking points that they come up with. Other people do. So,
So what's on your mind, boy?
Hi, Dave, and hi, Anthony.
Hello.
We all sincerely enjoyed your performance there. And,
I apologize.
It was quite a performance, quite a show, and we get a bit dizzy looking at it. Most Globers spin, their world spins, and with you, I mean, it was clearly that your world is spinning, dude. But one other thing that I noticed is you demand, or you command the flat earthers, like, do this and then look at it and then do that because it should be like this, and if it's not that, then it should have been. Dude, did you ever test anything yourself? Because usually flat earthers come to the conclusion by actually testing things, not by thinking about it, but actually looking and reasoning, working with figures, working with observations and facts, and putting them together. I mean, is that also a thing that you sometimes practice, or do you just think that you can command the other party to do so?
No, I've given a 100% genuine thought at this possibly being true, and I've observed my own the things in my own universe. I've listened to what Dave has to say. I've listened to what everybody has to say, and then I use my own brain to observe it, and it tells me that I can't see it. Just like when I say the NASCAR effect, he kept ignoring it and using angular speed versus this versus that. If you go to a NASCAR race, you can observe the NASCAR effect. If you look at the model, how he had plots the flat Earth, it would have the exact same effect. So the fact that he's saying, no, you're conflating this with that, and he's trying to be very esoteric about his argument, ignores the fact of what you're seeing in a macro sense. You don't have to know science to know, hey, this is what I see when an object going the same speed is going around a track. That's not what I see when I look outside. You know, that's where I'm coming from. I would like to believe that we're stationary and everything is moving exactly according, like on a clock, right? Mechanically, as opposed to perpetually in motion.
I hear your argument, but I was actually asking you, like, what test did you do?
I told you, I look outside. I do macro observations. You don't need an equation. You don't need a empirical evidence to prove what I'm trying to prove. These are a priori assumptions. These are a priori arguments. This is theoretical philosophical argument. It has nothing to do with what's the equation.
No, scientific. That's why I say, observation, fact,
right,
and then reasoning. That's pretty much, a theory, a model, and then is it real, right?
Well, you have to understand epistemology. There's two ways to arrive at knowledge, right? Yeah. One of them is empirical. One of them is natural science. One of them is through repeated experimentation with variables and isolation, all that. The other one is you start like 1 + 1 = 2. You don't need any experiment to know that. That is true in a void. That is true with nothing. It is a priori true. You can go from 1 + 1 = 2 and build on that. So if I'm looking at something that I say this should behave this way, but it doesn't behave that way, it's not the same as saying, hey, I need to test this over and over and over again. And you can do tests with certain things too. Like, what do you want to test? What should we
that was my question to you. Like, what did you actually test? And then you rant on about things, about theoretical things, philosophical things, but not about actual facts, not about reality. No, you get lost in the philosophical, in the theoretical part. But then you ask to the flat earthers, like, will you please hang this from your ceiling and watch it from the other side? And I mean, did you ever do that yourself? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it myself. It's so easy to do it. You literally just look at the ceiling, draw a clock on it, and walk around. Does the direction that the clock's moving change based on where you are underneath the clock?
Yes.
Where you are underneath the clock, does that change what direction the clock's? That's what the guy was trying to tell me. That if you turn around, the clock's going a different way. Now you turn around this way, now the clock's going a different way. That's not the case.
It's when you're looking, it's still going to go east to west. Anyway, you need to check out that video he's got. Sacred, I believe you were here second. What's on your mind, brother?
Sovereign, what's up, my guy? This was super entertaining. I can't believe that I missed all of it. I was over there charging my CPU, and I seen that you went live with the guys, and I see you on Twitter going crazy on the Globies, man. Go crazy, dog. But this was hilarious. I'm going to have to run this back and share it to all the level heads on Twitter. Shout out to the level heads. Y'all know we do Flat Earth Fridays every Friday on Twitter Spaces. But yeah, there was a lot of different things that was said in the short time that I caught this. One thing I was trying to figure out was why Anthony can't figure out the different rotations. So Anthony, do me a favor. Think about it like this. Let's think about this in very layman's terms. Do a thought experiment for all of us. Extend both of your arms to either side of you and start rotating them forward. Right? Just like you were stretching back in. Right?
Yeah.
Now, as your right hand is moving, tell us which direction it's moving. Is it moving clockwise or counterclockwise?
Yeah. I see what you're trying to do. You're changing the perspective that I'm looking at. This, like the stars are always over your head, right?
Hold on, bro. You ain't answered the question.
No, I get it. The left arm's going counterclockwise. The right arm's going clockwise. I get it.
All right. So what's there to be? Why are you debating this so crazy?
Because you're changing the way you're viewing. Like, look, the stars. Like, imagine a fist doing that circle, right? Two people with their fist doing a circle down above you. They're in the floor above you. You're looking up, and he's doing his fist in the circle. They're both going counterclockwise. above you. You're
Bro,
looking
don't
at his
move your
spin.
hips, bro. Just your arms. Don't move your hips.
All right, but imagine somebody above you doing the arms counterclockwise above you, right? You got
You
it?
listening?
All right, so now change your body any way you want and look above you. Which way are their arms going? If the stars are above you doing circles, they're not going to change the direction based on how you orient your body. They're above you. Now, if
So
you
what-
were to get above the stars and look down, guess what? They're going to change their direction, just like your experiment with your arms just proved. If you were looking at a different angle, I mean, you're literally, in this case, I'm east of the arm. In this case, I'm west of the arm looking at it. If you're an observer on the Earth, you're still underneath the stars. You're not changing underneath the star. So you're not going to change the direction that it's spinning. That's a simple fact. So you can
basically what you're
conflate it all
saying
you
that-
want. What did Flat Earth Dave said? He had the clock go vertical. Now get on the other side of the clock. You're not getting on the other side of the.
So basically what you're saying that with the horizon, the sky never meets the ground. The sky is always above at the horizon. The sky never meets the ground. Because if the sky meets the ground at the horizon, then it's not really above you. It's all about perspective. I don't know. It seemed like he paused. Maybe the Earth stopped spinning over there where he at.
I don't know. He locked up on us, man. I don't know what happened.
NASA said, "Get him out of here. He's making more flat earthers." So,
oh no shit. Well, I have to say, it was a pretty good show. It is very difficult though to be able to get out any kind of coherent arguments or points for that matter when somebody's talking over you or interrupting. That is something I cannot stand when people interrupt me in the middle of what I'm saying. It's because it's just like the microphone keyed up thing that I say. It's like, look, man, you can't you can't redress what I'm saying. You can't respond to it until you know what it is I'm saying. And the only way that you're going to get to know what I'm saying is if you let me finish what the fuck I was saying, you know? And a lot that unfortunately is lost on a lot of people. It really is. And you know, another thing I see, this is very, very typical. This is very typical. Is this just like I put up in that little meme that it's like, oh, you're a flat earther, we'll solve every fucking thing in the universe, or else, you know, checkmate, Flurf. You know, what the fuck? You know, it's like the difference between us and pseudoscience is that if we don't know something, we don't just go and make up a fucking answer for it, you know? Now we can speculate on what it would be, because a lot of times we get these dumbass questions like, what's underneath the flat earth? Well, I don't know. How in the world would I know what's underneath the earth? I can tell you, I know they've only dug down close to 8 miles. So there's that. But as far as knowing what's underneath of it, I don't know. What's in my neighbor's closet? I have no idea. I've never seen it. I've never been there. I know he's got a closet. He must. I'm pretty sure of that.
There's clothes in it. You know?
Yeah. So, you know, what the hell? These are the kinds of things that you get asked a lot. I think that if he'd have paid a little bit more attention to the material that was presented, he'd have a better understanding of what he's actually seeing. But I think in just like in many cases with others, it's they're too busy thinking up what they want to say next, or to refute some anecdotal portion of the entire thing that you're trying to say.
Yeah,
right?
well, he's not really having a conversation, right? It's not really like, oh, you say, oh, I didn't know that, or, you know, I
Right.
don't have to take that into account, or like the other way around, it's actually happening. Like, oh, this is what you said. Well, I can explain it like this or like that. And he doesn't do that at all.
Right. These kind of things usually they go like this. And we run into this on Twitter all the time too. Is that you say, okay, well, explain the seasons. You say, all right, well, the sun does almost like a spiral. It's like a spiral around over the earth. in a 365-day progression that travels back and forth between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Oh, well, why is it called the Tropic of Capricorn then? See, totally off what we were talking about and on to something else, although it being loosely related.
Bro, that's the exact thing that Witsit talks about all the time. And we talk about this in Flat Earth Fridays, where it's like we got to learn the fallacies, because it always seems to be that the globe earthers can never make a coherent argument without being fallacious. And I found that to be super important about that. Also, they're always so emotional, and they're supposed to be the standard of science, which is supposed to remove the emotion and bias. So not only can they not they don't have any self-restraint within a scientific, quote unquote, intellectual conversation. You know, they don't even have a coherent thought or argument to make. All they can do is appeal to authority, appeal to credentials, and all the indoctrination that they've lived through. Because no one was born a flat earther. It's only the flat earthers that looked into the information and changed position.
Right.
It's super
That's
crazy.
also one of his reasonings, right? He said, like, I know it's a globe because I know so many people put their lives and their status and they make money by saying it's a globe, so it must be a globe. This was literally what he said.
Yeah.
And he also told everybody he never even thought about this one time or looked into it. So that should be a baseline for everybody why the conversation probably went the way that it did. But
Yeah.
shout out to him for at least pulling up, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, and it's and like I said, these little anecdotal things that people try to tangent off of, you know, and it's almost like, okay, that you're not interested in understanding it, you're interested in refuting it.
Yeah.
You see, despite anything else. So all logic be damned, I'm gonna just half-assedly listen to what you present, and then I'm gonna hit you with all the things that were already answered, but you didn't listen because you were too busy thinking up what you wanted to.
Well, he was busy
argue
with a
about.
lot of things. He also changed his outfit like 3 or 4 times, and then you know.
Just like science changed the facts 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah, and he did a lot of hat tricks. I think about 4 hats I've seen, 5 maybe.
It looks like he's trying to come back on, but his shit's not.
NASA said that's enough. Too many algorithms. FSUM is going crazy on YouTube. We got to get him out of here.
No, I'll tell you, man. This is I enjoy that. I enjoy that that type of discourse, and like I said, that app, it's awesome. It's like every one of those questions, you can go in and look, and that one that shows your vision, right? Your dome of vision. Now, I'd seen some stuff on that, and I was like, okay, yeah, right. That's some awesome shit. But I didn't know there was that, because there's so much shit I haven't explored. I've had the thing for a while, and I haven't explored every damn thing that's on it, right? And that thing where it can go with whatever date and time with the sun position and everything, and so it's totally linked with the data from date and time. That's really neat. I want to play with that a little bit, man.
Yeah,
that is really a neat app.
Yeah, shout out to Dirk for putting that together for everyone across the plane.
What's up, Ron Boston Bear?
Hey, bud. I was going to tell you I'm going to see you in Vegas.
All right, man. All right.
Yeah. And the feedback that I've got, it took me 4 months to let go of the indoctrination of the heliocentric model. Like, I was doing research, I was studying, I was seeing some things that was really having me scratch my head. And then I would go to sleep and I would wake back up, and something inside of me was like, oh no, we got to be on a spinning ball. This has got to be a moving Earth spinning around the sun. And I just kept studying and kept studying. And what helped me get set free was I just asked myself, without any man's opinion, without any kind of whatever I was told when I was 5 years old, I said, what did the Creator make? Like, obviously the Creator has infinite power, wisdom, knowledge. Like, to be able to speak this place into existence and this to be here, I just said, if it's something different, I want to know what it is. And then I looked around and thought everything else has been inverted. Everything we see in our society, everything is getting twisted, inverted, jacked up. And I was like, well, why wouldn't where we live get messed with?
Yeah.
And so, I let go a year and a half ago, and I know that Austin and Dave have pure intentions. They're good guys. They're trying their best. And you know what? All of us that believe the Earth to be a stationary topographical plane, if we truly find out it is a globe and the heliocentric model is correct, we're going to pick that up because it's the truth. The problem is we can't do that because there isn't any proof. It's all philosophy. It's all just this like religion that's been pushed on us since we were all babies. And so I just encourage everybody that watched today to do their own research, meditate on it as an individual, and don't be scared because I've been awake and I've got a lot of peace from it. So that's what I got to say.
Yeah, it's remarkable. That once you realize that, it's a hard pill at first, and that's why I love in that movie They Live, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fight scene is such a beautiful metaphor because it's like the longest fight scene in any movie. I think it lasts like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that. These guys beat the hell out of each other all over this one guy trying to get his friend to look through those glasses. And the guy's fighting tooth and nail to not look through the glasses. And then finally he looks through the glasses. The fight's over and he gets the glasses on the dude and he sees the shit. And he gets like, wow. In the next scene, he's like, holy cow, how long has this been going on? How many do you think they are? Now he's totally into it. Once he finally saw, it snapped and changed everything completely for him. And it's like I've said before, it's almost like all the rest of the lies, all the psyops, all the rest of the bullshit just starts melting away because you see behind the magician's closet, what's being done.
Yeah.
Dave, I credit you with like opening my eyes to a lot of things. I just genuinely don't believe. I've given it a lot of good thought. I remember you with 9/11 and everything really shattered my whole worldview, bro. Really changed who I was as a person. You and my father are probably the two people that influenced me, the way that I think, the way that I behave. Anybody else in this world, and I just genuinely don't think the Earth is flat based on what I see, but. I really did give it,
some of the more recent evolutions on the event from September that I've come to. We'll have to talk about that, but not here on YouTube because they don't like.
Oh, yeah, they'll get you. Yeah, my bad.
They don't like that. It's all right. It's all right. There's more to it than even what I talked to you about before. Brian Stabley's in the chat. He opened me up to some shit. Just blew my mind here not too long ago regarding that. So
right. It really shows you the power of propaganda too. It really shows you how they can just say what they want, and that becomes the truth.
And think about it. If you keep doing it, keep doing it, right? Through subsequent generations, let's think about this. Every 8-year-old in just 10 years is going to be an adult, man. All right. So you got to figure if you're getting at them young. So when you're pushing on them, oh, okay, what are we doing today? We're going to draw the planets and name them so that we know the names. And we got a cool little thing that we can say, my very good mother, or whatever the fuck, some little poem that, so you can keep track of them. I just remembered what they were. But, that's indoctrinated real early on. Part of that indoctrination also is getting a bunch of kids to stand up and salute a piece of cloth and say an oath of allegiance to that piece of cloth. It's like, that's another thing nobody ever really thinks about, but that indoctrination that takes place, that stays with us.
Well, as technology gets better too, the indoctrination mechanism becomes more effective. Every generation is born a brand new infant. They don't know shit about the world. And you can just sit here and make reality. It's crazy what they can do nowadays with propaganda, mass media, and how they can get information out and just tailor information, censor information, make whatever true they want to make true. And then therefore manipulate the opinions of these people. It sucks.
Yeah,
I think,
for sure.
But also
Yeah.
that technology's turned out to be a double-edged sword for everybody. It's a double-edged sword.
Be a
Because
tool or a weapon.
because
right.
that
Everything, good and bad,
Yeah.
everything.
but see, the technology has outpaced their lies.
Hmm.
You understand? Like the Nikon camera.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I'll
That,
tell
that
you,
right there. That was a
Sovereign.
globe killer.
I bought a P1000, and this azimuthal grid of vision Austin was talking about is real interesting because when I take my P1000 and I look at stars directly to the east, like you can see my screen right here, they'll travel from here to, I can't do it. Okay, from here to here when I look to the east. And when I turn 90 degrees to my right, they'll travel across the top. And when I turn 90 more degrees, they'll go at that angle. So
Yeah.
I can see they all change depending on which angle you're looking at. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, then I'm going to grab some lunch. So I now know, and this is just what I believe. A lot of people are like, that's just what you believe. I have coffee on the back porch every morning. And now I know that when I go out there tomorrow from this morning, I have not moved 1.3 million miles through the vacuum of space. I'm in the same spot. It's stable. It's fixed. It's not moving. And it feels good to me. I mean, if I find out we are moving, then I'll pick that back up. But I really think we're stable. When I go visit my hometown that I haven't been to in years, it's in the same spot it's always been. That's just what I believe now. So peace, y'all. Have fun with it.
Well, that's
All right, Boston.
Yeah, see ya.
proof. Thanks for coming on, Boston. That's one of the things that gets me too. Is like a lot of times I've seen these people on Twitter say this shit, and I say, well, how do you know how far away any of these planets and shit really are? And one of the answers, and I've got this several times, is radar. Their answer is radar. And I'm like, so you check the distance to the sun. You think that you can check the distance of the sun using radar? And they're like, well, yes. I'm like, all right, first off, let's just suppose that you had a transmitter powerful enough to transmit a radar signal 93 million miles. Okay. That's 8.5 light minutes away. Okay. Which means that it would take 8.5 minutes for the radar signal to reach the sun. And assuming that it would bounce off of it, it would take another 8.5 minutes to come back. So that's 17 minutes that the Earth has been orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, which puts the Earth 18,000 miles away during that 17 minutes. Okay. 18,000 miles from its original position. So where would the signal bounce back to? And if they wanted to say spread of the diffusion spread of the signal, because it broadens out, well, 18,000 mile wide signal. Really? How strong is that going to be? Are you even going to pick it up? No.
That's interesting. I'm going to have to give that a little thought.
I mean, that's just how it is. You got to figure you're in these vast distances that they give us. That's it right there. 8.5 light minutes to the sun. And this is what Dave was starting to get into on there, was that, like with the sun, is about the size of a quarter at arm's length, average in the sky, right? And
I missed that part. I'm going to have to run it back and take a listen to that.
Yeah. I don't think he got to get fully into it.
Okay.
The point is that that's at 8.5 light minutes. If you were to multiply that by like 8, that'll give you roughly 1 light hour. So if you move the sun 8 times the distance it is right now away, it would appear very, very small in the sky, if you could even see it. But that would only be 1 light hour, right? So let's go 24 times that and make it a light day. Now, how big is it? You're not even going to see the damn thing, much less multiplying that distance by 365, which would be a light year. That's just one light year.
Anthony, doing this math? Anthony, you paying attention, bro?
That's just a light year.
Yeah, that's just one light year, man. So now think about these preposterous distances that they tell us that these stars are. And think about the inverse square law of light.
But does the inverse square law of light exist in the vacuum?
Yes.
How do we know?
This.
How do we know?
Well, it's because that why else would the stars be dimmer? If it didn't, the stars would appear as bright as our sun.
Well, no, because light is emitted from radially, right, from a point.
Right.
So the further away, the fewer degrees of the actual object you're going to be getting rays at. So, I mean, the further away, it would mean just less rays are going to you. That makes sense. It's not like the light permeates all of the outer space and every light source is just blanketing the whole entire.
That's begging the question, though. You're begging the question, assuming that the sun is in a vacuum, and you still can't even explain how
but
you
you're
have
assuming
a
that it's
gaseous
not
ball.
in the vacuum.
Yeah, but you can't even explain or demonstrate how to have a gaseous ball that's maintaining its circumference and radius within a vacuum on a local scale.
Because you can't make a vacuum on the Earth. It's just an experiment you physically can't do. That's what metaphysics is all about. You're never going to know the answer to these questions because you can't go into outer space and see what's in outer space, right? Until we can get beyond the firmament, till we can crack a hole in that motherfucker or see the sun or observe what it's doing. You guys are in the same boat as anybody else saying, I got a picture of a composite picture of the globe. You know, we're all in the same boat. Nobody has seen any of it.
You're right, but we don't have to go to such a large scale in order to prove or disprove globe and flat Earth. You could test these things on a local scale. You don't have to go to such extremes to try to figure this out. Like
Right,
we falsified the radius. We've been falsifying the radius of the globe for over a decade with every single long distance observation. If we could see too far on the ball, that means two things. Either the globe is way bigger than what they tell us, which means all the orbital mechanics is still wrong, or the Earth is a flat plane. And you have to be intellectually honest to admit that.
Right, but you're not seeing the same phenomenon every day. It's changing based on other phenomena that are not being taken into account, perhaps refraction and things like this.
There's nothing that you could say that could allow you to see through physical obstruction of curvature.
But I'm saying, like, they've got the footage on Pyramid Lake of the guy. I don't know what he is, 7 miles away, and the guy's on the shore with the telescope, and the other people are on the other end of the lake in a helicopter hovering 20 feet above the lake, and he can't see him. He can't see the helicopter 6 miles away from him, and so that would prove curvature. And so, but then there's other parts where you look where it doesn't show the curvature. There's other days you come out there when you can see shit you couldn't see. Sometimes you can see ships, sometimes you can't. There's other phenomena in play for us to say, okay, I made my observation here and there, and then I didn't see this, and therefore I think it's flat, because you can see sometime the hull disappear before, the mast and all that shit goes last and all this shit. So, different days produce different results, probably different atmospheric conditions, that not necessarily proven either way, because people use that exact same argument to say that it's a globe. They go, every time we measure across the lake, I see objects dip down below the horizon line. And then the flat earthers will say, well, no, here's a picture I got of a boat that's supposed to be 10 miles away. Why am I even seeing any of it? And then it's
here's the difference, Anthony. Here's the difference. Welcome to flat Earth, because on a flat plane, the horizon is not a physical location. It's an apparent location. Yeah. So the flat earthers are going to say sometimes, due to these conditions, we could see at different distances. But on a globe Earth, you guys claim that the physical location of the horizon is 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's where the physical obstruction of curvature, that's where the physical point of the horizon should be on the globe, based on the dimensions that they give us of a 24,901 circumference oblate spheroid. That has been falsified the moment we can see past that.
Right, unless there's other phenomenon explained, because sometimes you can see that obstruction as you would normally see it, right? It's like sometimes it does work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out.
Think about what you're saying, Anthony. Try this. What if I'm halfway around a corner, what atmospheric conditions would allow me to see all the way around the corner?
Yeah, the light
There's
would be
nothing.
bending to some degree. So you know how it works. Like, have you ever seen some monkeys on the road where the road is hot because of the sun and it's distorting? It's showing that the light is bending. You can literally see the waves, right? Because of the difference in temperature. Now, you know what evaporative cooling effect is? When water evaporates, it produces a cooling effect. So right on the surface of the water is going to be a temperature gradient that's different than the air just above it. So you're going to have what we call the refraction and all those sort of light play going on there, magnification or whatever else we're talking about with why we see the sun larger on the horizon. All those things you guys cite are also in play elsewhere in the world. So yeah, that could be a cause for why you're seeing something further away, because maybe it's being magnified. Maybe the light is bending around the curve.
Though, Anthony. You got to demonstrate that. You can't just say that. You got to demonstrate being able to see around a physical
exactly.
obstruction.
And I wasn't quoting. I wasn't claiming to know how it went. What I was claiming was that there are other phenomena at play which would describe why what we're witnessing is not repeatable. You haven't been able to isolate these variables and then figure out why the whole sometimes disappears first, sometimes doesn't. You know, we have to figure it out.
Oh no, we know why. You just told us it's all due to atmospheric conditions. What I'm saying is demonstrate that. Demonstrate that there's a physical obstruction, because like I said, on a flat plane, it's an apparent position. It's an apparent horizon. That horizon changes. There is no physical obstruction on a flat plane unless it's a topographical landmark.
Right. So
that's why. Hold on. That's why I was telling you. How can we see around a curve horizontally? What type of atmospheric conditions would allow us to see around a curve if we're like on a corner of a street? What your answer should be is there is none, because we can't see around physical obstructions. That is the correct answer. So the globe Earth can't explain that. You have to invoke refraction, which is you know what they do for refraction? You know how they calculate refraction, Anthony? They manipulate the radius of the Earth. If you look at all of these curvature calculators, because you could go, calculate some of these things, they all say that standard refraction is 7/6 R, which is 7/6 times the radius. This means they're flattening the globe. They're manipulating the radius in order to create a line of sight to explain away a failed prediction. You have to be honest about that. Now, you may not have known that, but I really need you to take in what I just said. They manipulate the radius of the Earth by 7/6 R to flatten the globe in order to create a line of sight to say, hey, this is why we're seeing too far. We're manipulating the radius. That right there is fallacious. Why do I have to manipulate the radius of the globe in order to account for a failed prediction of it?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
So I do want to I gotta go jump on and flatten some globe earthers on Twitter. So shout out to Sovereign Soul for pulling me up here, joining the show. Dope stuff, man. I watch all your content. Like I said, I'm gonna share this video with the level heads. Tap in with Sovereign Soul on Twitter. I think, what is it? SSUM at SSUM?
Yeah.
At
SSUM 3690.
That's what's up. That's what. If you want to find me, I'm just type in the hashtag Flat Earth Fridays. But I do want to find some common ground real quick with Anthony, because he did say something at the end of the show that was pretty profound. And I think we all can agree that we're kind of all being attacked. He said something like, the globe Earth and the flat Earth is not going to change his life. We should still all kind of be fighting back. But Andy, let me ask you something, because you seem like one of the manly men. You don't let nobody play with you like that. What if the government came in and said, hey, that house, I think you said you was in Virginia, that house is mine. We're going to put you in shackles and we're going to take it away from you. Are you going to fight back?
Do what I can.
Right. Now, wouldn't it be easier to just manipulate you in order to keep you from fighting back? So if this is a flat plane and there's more land, and I don't want this slave community, this slave population to know this, I can't put all the slaves in shackles because they're going to fight back. What would be a lot easier and simplistic is to put your mind in a shackle. Now you won't fight back. As a matter of fact, when the truthers come out to try to dismantle my whole mental prison, the prisoners are going to fight on my behalf. So I'm going to indoctrinate the Anthonys of the world so they fight on my behalf, so they fight for their shackles and they won't find the true nature of the Earth. Because if you live on the globe, there's nowhere else to go. On a flat plane, it could be infinite. And now we're invoking a creator and creation and the true nature of the earth. Otherwise, if it's a globe, I get to hide the creator from you. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does, but there's certainly no scarcity of land. I mean, just drive across the country. There's plenty. They got everybody living in the city just so they can control everybody.
It's all controlled.
Right.
Right. But the Earth could be flat or round, and they could still be controlling you. Like they don't need to lie about the Earth being a globe. It could tell you that it's flat with a firmament and still do everything they're doing to limit your mind and your brain.
Anthony, this entire world works under the premise of artificial scarcity. The entire economy of this world works on the premise of artificial scarcity.
It's not artificial, it's reality. There's a scarcity. How much time in a day?
Wait a second.
There's a scarcity. How many rocks on the earth? How many people to dig the rocks up? There's a scarcity. Everybody can't have a castle. Everybody can't have one because there's not enough time, enough labor there's not enough labor to put it together. There's not enough labor. You can't do it. There's a time thing. People are gonna die before they build the castle.
Bro, I mean, they know it's free energy, and you got your lights on right now paying for that. They know that gas and oil is not something that is limited, right?
Right.
So they could charge you $6 a gas, $6 a gallon for gas.
You know what would happen?
That is infinite, and they probably just charge you, like you said, based on the scarcity. So they're manipulating you right now, and you're fighting for
on that. But you know what would happen if the world was privy to the fact that there was free energy and we could all get it from our house? Guess what would happen? Energy would no longer be an economic good. It would cease to be an economic good. It'd be like air. Okay, there still would be scarcity. There would still be scarcity.
We wouldn't even need economics, bro. You're still stuck into the system.
Like everybody wants a 10 out of 10 dime bitch to fuck, right? There aren't enough 10 out of 10 dime bitches for every dude on the planet to have. There's scarcity. That's the way the world works. That's why men economize things. That's why we have money. That's why we trade things, because there's scarcity.
And thank you for proving my point. Scarcity. So what?
That's why there's high-rise buildings.
And the point would be that is to someone's advantage, definitely not yours or mine. Okay. Right. That is to someone else's advantage. But what if that went away? You see,
scarcity of the earth.
This is right. I mean, like if there was I don't know.
That's like a utopia. That's the problem that socialists make.
Wait,
they create the scarcity.
The land of cocaine is what it's called.
Yeah, it is. That's why I said it's artificial scarcity.
Nirvana. We're dreaming of a utopia. We're dreaming of the land of cocaine.
That's not impossible. Listen, we had that really when people just kind of migrated over here and built a fucking cabin out in the mountains, and it wasn't nobody's fucking rule over them.
Right. But
hold on. That was fine until the control system got a hold of it, and then now you get arrested for living that way. All right.
Yeah. What you have to understand is the default state of mankind is utter poverty. Okay. In order for people to have whatever they want to have in the mountains, they have to work tirelessly every day. They have to raise food. They have to catch food. They have to fucking struggle against near death at all times. Society makes that easy for people because we have the division of labor, and we can all do our individual job. And I can go sit behind a computer desk, and somebody else can unclog the toilets, and somebody else can grow the food, and somebody else can do all that shit. And we can all get together and work. Okay. If we all want to have our own thing and do our own thing, it's not going to work out quite as easily. And the whole scarcity thing will become manifest twice as fast in that situation.
No, I don't agree with that. But the point anyway, I wished he would have stayed up here for a minute. I was going to tell him we just recently watched Under the Dome. And I watched it with totally different eyes. I didn't even watch the entire series when it was first on. But because I don't like having to wait a whole fucking year to the next season and all that shit, right? Oh, there he is. There's Sacred. Cool. So anyway, we were watching that Under the Dome, and it was, really at the first one, everybody's, what is this thing that came down, and they're trying to touch it, and they come across this one area where apparently somebody was outside having a picnic and their dog was with them, and the dome came down and it cut this guy's leg off. So the guy's leg was still inside the dome, but you could see the blood trail where he'd been dragged away on the other side. Anyway, they go, oh, this poor dog, he must have been on this side when the dome came down. And they pull up his tag, and I'm shitting you not, his name was Truman. And I was like, oh my God, throw that run right in our face. But one of the cool things that happened was they
can make that type of stuff up. That's funny.
Yeah. So he was like, something happened where there was utter devastation and outside of the dome, right? And everything was destroyed outside of the dome, right? But then what they find out is that was just a projection. The dome just projected that and made them think that that's what was outside. And in reality, it wasn't. When the projection went away, finally, it was really nice out there. There's a lot of really cool little shit in that. Like they find this black egg at the very center. And I was like, well, there, that Rufus Negro, anyone? Rufus Negro, you know, fucking Mount Zion. Let's talk about this. So it's a pretty good thing if you got new eyes, you know, to watch again, you know. I don't know. Have you seen it, Sacred?
No, I haven't seen that one. What's it called?
Under the Dome.
Under the Dome. I'm adding it to my playlist. Where can I find it?
I think I watched it on. I'll have to. I'm not. I can't be certain. It was. I think it might have been on Amazon. Could have been on.
It's all good. I'll tap in with you on Twitter to find out.
But if you don't know what the premise of the thing is, there's this little town, Chester's Mill, and it's like normal, you know, just like any other little small town. And all of a sudden, this dome comes down, just wham! It just appears, and it's like anything caught in where it came down is like chopped in half. Like this cow gets totally chopped in half. And the other side just slides down and drops to the ground. And it's like, it's kind of gross, but they come to this thing and it's like, they can't hear anybody on the outside. There's people coming down the road. They don't see the damn dome. This is what gets me. Everybody says, show me your container. And that argument came to my mind when these scenes came up, because here's these motherfuckers driving down the road, man. They're just cooling along. They don't see the dome. They smash right into this impenetrable, invisible shield. It just totally pummels the
barrier. Yeah, and that goes into some of like that occultism, where, you know, I guess they live by a certain doctrine and they got to give the public soft disclosure so they can say, hey, we kind of told you guys, you just wanted to look at this for entertainment value, but we've been telling you about this for a long time. Look at the Truman Show. Look at this over here with the dome dropping us. Like, that's part of their whole thing. They have like this semi-moral, whatever the hell they want to call it. I don't know, but it's weird. You got to pay attention.
Don't forget the field trip to the planetarium.
Yeah,
projected image of the sky onto a dome.
It's all over the place, man.
I got a question.
All right.
So why can't the horizon, I know that they say on the globe the horizon is a physical thing, but why can't it be apparent? Why couldn't it actually be an apparent horizon on the globe?
Because they give us an exact circumference and radius of it, which means that there is a specific position of the physical location. That's just geometry.
Forget them though. Like, what if there's a? Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we have to have like a reference point, right? So we don't appeal to NASA, but they give us a fact sheet of where we live at. They don't call it a theory sheet. They give us a fact sheet. Yeah. So we said, okay, let's go test this quote unquote fact sheet. See, people wouldn't be so much on NASA's and you know, the elite's head if they wasn't calling these facts. If they say, hey, you know, we got a theory that this is, then we could just have a regular discussion. Yeah, but if they're telling us it's fact, and then these facts and these predictions fail, and they keep on pushing at the facts, and then when the facts fail, they update the facts, like Polaris changed from 400 light, 300 light years to 400 light years just overnight. It's just like, come on, bro. I'm supposed to just believe everything you're saying. So yeah, man, we got to test these things and change it. And being off by 30% from the next closest quote unquote star than the sun, and we're just supposed to blindly believe this, bro. You know better than that. You wouldn't even believe. You probably put some of your teachers in place that was trying to talk to you crazy when you were younger, Anthony. Stop playing with us, bro.
I was trying to get on the horizon though, because I know they say it's a physical point, but at the same time, due to angular perspective, you're looking at a lot more than just a point when you're looking at that quote unquote point. Well, and so it's not like, you know, we're zooming in on a small fucking square inch. Even though they'll say, hey, that's where the apparent horizon should, or the physical horizon be. You're still seeing the appearance of a horizon more so than you're seeing a physical square inch point of the horizon.
No, so even science says that there's multiple different horizons. Like there's a physical one, there's like a one that's above the little bit of distortion and refraction, and there's another one there's multiple horizons now just to stick to the globe. They won't even stick to one place. But by the geometry of the math of the dimension that they give us of this oblate spheroid, the physical horizon has to be in a specific place, and it's documented by all universities, all of the highest levels of science. They all say that the calculation is 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, which means if you're somewhere between 5 feet to 6 feet tall and you're standing right off of the edge of the water on a lake or on any body of water, that horizon should be no more than 2.99 miles away, which means that you should never see anything 3 miles further than you.
If your eyeball is like flat on the ground, right?
No, if you're 5 to 6 feet, and so it's all based off of the observers.
It should be 2 miles.
It should be 2.99 miles, and they have Earth curvature calculators that you can go do this, and you could do the math yourself. You could open up a calculator right now. You could put in your height. You could square that height, put the square root of that height, and then multiply that by 1.225, and it'll be somewhere between 2.9 and 2.99. And we should never see that far. And they've done these type of demonstrations where they use like lasers that were like 8-10 feet off the ground, and they'll shoot them 25 miles. Your weather app gives you a visibility right now that probably says you could see more than 10 to 15 miles. So they're giving you what's really happening, but it's not supposed to happen like that, bro.
Right? Do it every time. And is that a repeatable? Because like that's something you can't just hide. You know what I'm saying? You can't just lie that out.
You know how they hide it, bro? Just like you said earlier, you said 1 + 2 is 3, right? So that's like a standard math, right? However, it's all about its application, because if I have one single family house and I have one duplex house, right? That's 3 homes. So 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2. Sometimes 1 + 1 equals 3. So it's all about the application of how they're applying this math. And that's how they hide it, because math is just a description. It's not an explanation, but it is supposed to comport with reality. And if it doesn't,
but truth is truth regardless. There's chicanery and sophism, and then there's just truth. I mean, you know, just like saying, you know, hey, look this way, and now the stars are going east-west. Look that way, they're going. No, one's going clockwise, one's going counterclockwise. That's the bottom line, you know. And so, and I don't know if you got my point about it. When you know the stars are above you, they're above you. You never get above the stars, so you're never going to get that perspective change, no matter how many times you spin around.
Well, you didn't hear it when you dropped out, because I was asking you if that's the case, then that means the sky never meets the ground. That means there is no horizon, because at the point where the sky meets the ground, it actually looks like it's level with the observer. You know, we have this spherical grid of view, this azimuthal grid of view. So everything just looks like we're in a dome from our personal perspective. So things are always above us. But when things move away from you due to perspective, things from the top drop down to eye level, and things from the bottom come up to eye level. So it's not always appearing as
no, I get that, but it's unrelated to the fact that it's not going to be spinning.
Yes, it is, bro. You could be, even if you're within like let's say a paper towel tube, and that paper towel tube is spinning, one side is going to be spinning one way, one side is going to be spinning the other. We can demonstrate this, bro. Everything, all these flat earth claims, like the real flat earth claims, the strong flat earth claims, not just the one where we're theorizing where we could be. We can demonstrate this. We could demonstrate gas pressure with containment. You know, you guys can't demonstrate gas pressure without containment. You know, we can demonstrate a level surface if it's missing curvature. You guys can't do that. There is no measurement of any curvature. As a matter of fact, all surveyors reference plane coordinate systems and then stitch them together and try to fit them into a spherical model. So everything, and all engineers, all people that build buildings, your whole neighborhood, railways, highways, everything is built assumed as it was a level of flat plane. And that is a fact. It's in all the documents. When you actually look at it, you just got to take the time.
Well, everything is built piece by piece. I mean, how far is the span of distance you're shooting a level line across before you shoot a brand new level line? I don't think people build some shit with a fucking
100 square miles, bro, of flat plane. 100 square miles for plane survey.
I know, but I mean, if you shoot a straight line a mile, then you down at the next part and shoot another straight line. I mean, you're not shooting the straight line 100 miles. You're going piece by piece, shooting 1 mile line.
Bro, didn't we just establish that the horizon? My bad, Sovereign. You want to?
That's all right, Sacred. I was just going to say that the engineers are already working on something that's going to cover a span like that. And I believe it's in Saudi Arabia. This guy, some sultan or whatever, he's building this great big long, it's almost like the Great Wall of China, but it's going to have, like, it's going to be a city inside. The whole thing's going to be a city. Like, I think it's like 50 miles long or some shit like that.
I've seen that. Yeah, it's wild. And it's going to be a big mirror. It's like going to be taller than the Empire State Building or something, then like 7 miles long or some shit, one building.
Some kind of thing that's going on with that, but that would be interesting. I bet you they don't take any Earth curvature into account with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we should get a hold of some of those guys. That'd be good to hear them, you know, come on and talk about it.
I'm the Flat Earth Fridays, bro. Last Friday, we talked to a CERN physicist. We talked to engineers. We talked to astrophysicists. We talked to people at NASA. We talked to everybody with credentials, and they never have answers for us. That's why we've been going for 62 weeks.
I want to find the guys with credentials that are on your side. I want to find the CERN, blah, 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 whoever it is that's on your side going, I've been there. I've done, you know, I've been working with the technology. You guys are right. Let me blow the whistle on you.
Let me tell you.
Bring those guys on.
Let me tell you a problem with that. And what I've found also, and this is just anecdotal, but it still remains true. The more indoctrinated of these people, and I mean indoctrinated by the higher educated, right? I find act the most childish of any of them, of any people that you were going to talk to about any subject whatsoever. They become very childish as soon as an adversarial element to what they spout is introduced into their narrative. They get very, very angry. I've had that happen on my show a couple of times with Professor Nick Volt.
Oh no!
They find us actually doing science by challenging the science insulting.
Yes.
Why are you insulting the you know, the facts that everyone agrees to? I put in 3 decades of my life in this, and you guys are insulting. Like, bro, we're the ones actually challenging the science. You should be appreciating us. There's no reason for you to get emotional in a scientific and intellectual conversation.
Right. I mean, I was flabbergasted. One night he was trying. The discussion was, how do you find the distance to the sun? How is this 93 million miles established, right? And then he started talking about the moon. He says, okay, and he says, I could take like a coin out of my pocket and eclipse the moon perfectly, and then measure the distance from the quarter to my eye and be able to figure out the distance to the moon. And I said, no, you can't. And he said, yes, absolutely, I can. And I said, wait a minute, the apparent size of the sun and the moon are the same. So
the same size. Like,
yeah. So you would get the same answer for both fucking objects. That's not true, what you're telling me.
They made a mistake, Sovereign. The moon is 93 million miles away, and the sun is only 230,000 miles away.
Yeah, well, when you say apparent size, what do you mean? Because I observe the sun being larger on the horizon than I do overhead.
Well, that's because of the, like, as I've said, that's atmospheric lensing.
Is that what you mean by apparent size, or do you talking about like the solar filter actual diameter of the disk?
With a solar filter, we see that it actually does get smaller. You can measure even with the pixels if you take photographs successively.
Right. But we got to see that on a linear scale for me to believe that, you know, going away from me.
You see that, but what you have to take into account is atmospheric opacity. Okay. And I'm really trying to break myself from using the word atmosphere and just use the word
atmosplane.
Just atmos. You know, there again, that's the Greek word. But even the guy, this was hilarious. I just went into search engine and I said, you know, how did they measure the distance of the sun? And they go into the history of this, and even the Greeks, okay? And some great, wonderful Greek guy that has a hard name to pronounce said that, well, the moon, the sun, although they appear to be the same size, the sun must be further away because it's brighter. And I was like, well, of course, that's just, yes, that concrete right there. Are you fucking kidding me? Why? Nobody bothers saying why. They just go, some ancient Greek guy still trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. You know, they're not really thinking on what's being presented to them. And just the whole shit. And I try to get it with these people, and they say, well, if you measure the orbital radius, the transit of Venus, and we know that the orbital radius of Venus is, wait a second, how the fuck do you know the orbital radius of Venus if you don't know how far away the sun is in the first goddamn place?
There is none without any presupposition or known values. I see you say that a lot, Sovereign.
Yeah,
you always need some type of known values.
I know one thing. I can look through mirrors with my telescope and see planets revolving around Saturn and Jupiter through a time lapse with mirrors and no computer. If I just use my own eyeballs, I can see that. It's crazy.
Yeah, you see lights. You don't really necessarily see balls.
Oh, that's another one Flat Earth Dave does too. He always goes on about how, look, it could be a ball or a hemisphere or a flat plane. And then I got to thinking about it. And I'm thinking, okay, so when the moon is directly over New York and the people in California can see it and the people in London can see it and everybody sees it as a disk, that kind of shatters all those theories of it being flat, hemispherical, or anything other than a sphere. Well, because we can all see it and it always looks like a disk.
They don't see different angles of the features.
Yeah, you do. If it was a local moon and a local sun, you're literally looking at it due to angular perspective. You're looking at it from different angles.
They see the same exact thing. The only thing different is, like in the south, there it appears what you would consider upside down. That's no different than putting a picture on the ceiling, viewing it from one end of the room.
I'm just saying, why does it always look like a disc if it's viewed from different angles? It's always a disc.
Try to get a full ball. Try to light a full ball in a dark room. Take a light and try to make a full ball. You're never going to do it.
Yeah, and this is all just like theories and speculation, Anthony. This is all like theories and speculation, but because we believe that there's a surface in the sky, because we have to have that in order to have, like, you know, electric currents through the Gaussian surfaces, you know, gas pressure, you know, you have to have some type of container.
Yeah.
But we also believe that it has to have some type of reflective surfaces. So a lot of these things we're seeing that could be some type of projection, like a rainbow. So think about how a rainbow, you could never walk on the other side of a rainbow because it's all relative to your perspective.
You know what I can do? I can create a rainbow in my backyard with my hose. I know how a rainbow works. It's not.
But what I'm saying is you can't walk
understand.
around it. It's all relative to your position. So when you're saying, well, how come someone in London can see it over here like this and someone over in New York? Because it's all relative to our position.
I know, but have you seen your flat Earth model and what you purport that the moon is doing? It's going over those places, and as we view that from our positions anywhere on Earth, we're seeing it progress at a constant rate of speed anywhere and everywhere, staying a disk at all times. That's just the way we view it, everywhere, anywhere, at the same time, simultaneously. So, I mean, the model that you're putting out there says it's going far from me. It's coming to me, over close to me. Now it's going far away from me. That's why I don't need to have any equations when I'm talking about my NASCAR effect. I watch the NASCAR race. I see the effect that is produced. Now I try to apply that logically to what I'm seeing on your model, and it doesn't produce that effect. I ask why. He goes, oh, well, it does appear to be getting a little bit faster at the very end. That's completely irrelevant to the point of it's supposed to be on a linear path. That's why I didn't use angular diameter and I only used angular speed. And another point, you guys don't want to confuse my passion with anger. I'm not angry. This is how I argue. I'm an Italian person. I get loud. Notice how I didn't tell him to shut up and do. I didn't start using fucking
respect,
fighting words or anything like that.
Right.
You know, he was being a little bit more aggressive with me, taking tones with me. I just get loud. That's my thing. Okay, I'm a passionate person. So
Anthony,
that's my piece.
Anthony, it's not just the getting loud; it's the interrupting and talking over that gets frustrating for people, because you don't let them finish what they're saying. You jump in and fucking gotta boom, boom, boom in the middle of a sentence, even.
Okay, we'll run it back and we'll see how many times they get it to me. Well, run it back and we'll do a score. I want to run it back and I'll do a score. I'll keep score. How many times they change the topic? How many times I ask this question, a different question gets answered? How many times they interrupt me versus how many times I interrupt them? How long they have on the mic versus how long I have on the mic? We'll be very objective about this. Instead of just sitting here arguing about it, we've got it on tape. We can do that. And if I'm forced to look at myself being the overwhelming asshole, everybody's going to see that.
Were you paying attention?
Because you just try to disrupt me. There we go. I just talk quick through my points. I don't take a long time to explain everything I'm going to explain, because when you do this, people know what you're about to say and they have on their mind what they want to say, but they have to put it on the shelf so that our argument can get put out. And when our argument finally comes to its conclusion, then we can maybe let somebody else have the microphone. See?
Talk over the people.
That's what I'm saying. It just drives you crazy.
That's because you must have a short attention span.
No, I have a fast working brain. It's the difference between short attention span and fast working brain.
Call it whatever.
Probably
you
why
want.
you put 10 outfits on today.
The reality is that you would.
I had one outfit I disrobed.
You a lot of times did not allow him to finish what he was saying before you were already interjecting, and he hadn't made the point yet. Now, a lot of these points have to be set up, because that's going to avoid future questions that they know are already going to come along with what's being presented.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's the importance of that. And it's like, yes, exactly.
So then a little constructive criticism would be, okay, you have 5 minutes, you have 5 minutes, put it on the clock. Right. You can rebut, because that's how actual debates work. There's a whole thing where people actually debate, and there's like a science to it, and you can go to class for it and shit like that. So, if we could work toward that,
you don't want to debate with these guys, Anthony, man. You should be happy to do the discussion.
But there are people that will debate with these guys. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm the top dude out here. But, if you guys got your points, then come to these people that really do claim to know some shit about the globe.
They know where we at, bro. They running from us. They know where we at. They don't want to have this conversation.
I'm sure they do, because you know why I'm sure they do? Because the flat earth guys don't have as many subs as the pro globe guys. Those guys got like millions and millions of subs.
That's like the first factual thing you said this whole stream, bro. Say that one more time.
Well, I'm just saying they don't. So it's like, you guys, they're ready to have this debate. These guys are ready to do it. So the fact that they're, you can't say that they're not ready to have that debate.
So a globe brother that's making thousands and thousands off of all their millions of subscribers would risk challenging someone like Witsit, who has 20, 30,000 subscribers, that would completely destroy their entire channel. You think that that's what they're trying to do? You think that they have
would.
like a goal?
I think they would. And you know what? We can do it here, boys. You guys can make the views for this. I'm telling you, this is so.
It'll go crazy. It won't help the globe.
I'm telling you, there's people that are willing to debate you that are much more reserved. Like they're going to comport themselves much better than me. Okay,
tell them to pull up to some channel. Tell them to pull up to Flat Earth Fridays. We looking for them. Where they at?
Flat Earth Fridays. No, we want it on Sovereign Soul's channel. Is the point. We're blowing it up, dude. You're gonna have 10,000 views by tomorrow, or subs by tomorrow because of this argument. Everybody's gonna be like, "Do you see that motherfucking globe tard that blew up on the motherfucker?" You guys are gonna blow up on this one alone. Then we're gonna have an escalation of the globers, right? I'm low hanging fruit for you guys.
Anthony, settle down, man.
I'm low hanging fruit. You guys need to go progressively go up.
You need to settle down for a second, right? All right. So,
you know, I didn't smoke weed before I came on the show, David. I was thinking about drinking coffee. You're goddamn lucky I didn't drink any coffee because I'd have been going fucking crazy. All right. Go ahead.
Well, goddamn, thank you for letting me talk. Finally, Jesus Christ. So as I was saying, you said about having it being structured debate. I was trying to rely on the assumption that polite adult conversation would, like a debate, include not interrupting over top of people while they're in the middle of talking what they're saying, trying to present. Okay. So you shouldn't have to rely on a moderator to make you
have self-restraint,
conversational decorum. You see?
Well, I mean, I'm saying from your standpoint, you can lecture me all you want. That's fine. But I'm saying from your standpoint, you're gonna run into this. I said constructive criticism. I didn't mean to strike a chord, but yeah, I get it. I'm bad. I'm bad. I admit I'm bad. I admit. You got me, dude. You got me for real. I can't argue for shit. You should see me with my mother.
So it's like that's one of the things. And now, as far as what you're saying, why don't they debate these big globe trolls? And that's what I call them, is because they know better. They absolutely know better. I don't know how many times I've seen Nathan Oakley going over Red's rhetoric, as well as McToon. The same thing with Flatzoid's perspective. He's gone over that nonsense as well. I've seen these guys talk with McToon, right? And he's one of these big ones he loves his little mathematics, and he's got little rocket ships and shit that he plays with in the background and stuff, and he's,
I get naked,
completely. And every time he gets shown to be fraudulent, the only thing he does is just kind of like smile, like, I'm busted, but I don't fucking care. And it's like, oh, it just pisses me right off.
This is what I think. I think there's a lot of people that want to debate that are more worthy adversaries than me that are willing to debate, especially if I cut up portions of this whole thing here and then send it to them. Something that I know would trigger them, something I know would get them hyped up. I think we can make it happen for sure.
Well, I'm not after that. That's another thing too. I'm not after that. All right. Although
you guys just said they don't want no smoke. Y'all were like, they don't want to embarrass themselves.
Although I enjoy the growth of my channel, that's not really the whole thing that I'm doing.
Right.
What I'm actually doing here in the purpose of a debate of like that, or even a discussion along those lines, is not really for you. Although you can benefit for it, right? And it's not really for me or for Dave or for Witsit. Who it's really for is the people that are watching, that can hear both sides of a cohesive argument.
Right?
And then in the court of public opinion, they're able to weigh out the information that they received from both sides and make a determination on their own. And that's what we're after here.
That's why I'm making an appeal to somebody who's better at the argument than me. I'm making an appeal to, because you guys are very good with your arguments. You guys have really, worded these correctly. Sacred, you're doing a good job. All you guys.
Appreciate that, man.
That's what I'm saying, because you guys have a lot of rehearsal with this, right? I'm not even coming off the cuff. I've been thinking about this for the last week because Dave called me on Wednesday. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to get him with the NASCAR effect. I'm going to get him with the parallax. I wanted them to go on about parallax before I came back. Then I was going to get him with the date and time. I feel like I got him with that stuff, but you guys have your, well-worded arguments and comebacks. I'm going to cut pieces of this up, send it to some of these other cats that can actually argue these points. Because if you want to have the sides, make both sides look good, Dave, I know for a fact you brought me on here because you knew I was going to embarrass myself because you've seen the way that I argue with you at your house.
I did not.
You know that I get like this. And so you had me on here, and it worked. It
Whoa.
worked because look at me, David. I'm up here going, blah, blah, blah.
Anthony,
And a
what I'm saying?
do-rag too.
And Sacred don't even have his he don't even have his video on. He's back there looking all cool with whatever icon he's got. He just illuminates when he talks. That's just all badass. You know what I'm saying? David, you're in the freaking space station. Okay. I'm trying to do something cool with my cactus and my melon. You know, that's about all I got going on. Oh, come on.
All right, it's fine. It ain't about a background.
Somebody else can do this better than me.
It ain't about the pizzazz or any of that. And no, Anthony, I mean, yeah, I'm used to you in real life, you know, and at times you can be a handful when you get like that and everything. And that's all of it. I mean, you have to also realize that this is going to have, you know, thousands of people watching this video.
They're going to love it.
Dave's going to play it as well. It will. And
yeah, and then you know what Dave's going to post it as? Dave's going to go, Globetard gets exploded by, you know, Flat Earth Oracle. You know,
hey, listen.
Globetard changes his outfit 10 times, destroys Flat Earth.
This guy can't even keep himself together.
I wouldn't fault him. I wouldn't fault him if he did, because, you know, I mean, like I said, it makes for good content and views. But like I've said before, I'm not really after a Jerry Springer thing going on here. We've had attempts at that from other channels of their people trying to come in here and be disruptive, you know, but that's not what was going on here. So yeah, it was pretty good content. I would imagine. I wish you would have actually listened more to what they were saying, because a lot of what you were asking was pretty well answered. Maybe if you go back and watch it again, you'll, like you said you were going to do, you'll pick up on some of that. Maybe not.
Hey, Siren, sound like he wanted a part 2. I'm looking forward to that.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm going to gas up some of these other guys by showing them my failure will not be in vain. I'm trying to make my fingers even with this thing. So my
you trying to make them level, Anthony?
Vain.
You trying to make them level? Go ahead, bro.
I'm trying to make these joints level. It's tough. All right.
Hey, what happens when they don't pull up though, Anthony? What happens if you share all the content and then they don't come? What happens? What will be your observation for that?
I don't know. I'm going to gas these motherfuckers up. That's not an option.
What if they don't show up? You're going to come over to this side?
I mean, if they don't show up, then that means that they're scared and they don't want none. Like
y'all heard it. Clip it. Clip it.
I'm clipping all of it. They're going to be scared and they don't want none if they don't show up. For real. And they got enough views that they ought to show up to save face. They got enough subs.
Talk to him, Anthony. Talk to him.
Man, no way, dude.
Don't play with him. You know, my boy Sacred's sitting here. He's ready. All those other cats that was on earlier, they say they're ready. Come on, step up and get those views, baby. Get those subs, baby. Get your money up. Come on.
Nah, we ain't doing that for that, bro. We trying to break free from all of that. That's
I'm talking to the Globe, though. You know, that's the way they operate. The Globers, that's how they operate, right? They want that money. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm not monetized. I'm not even monetized.
Oh, that's what's up.
I don't know. You know, I do this because I know that if 100 people watch one of my videos, one person's mind is going to open up somewhere along the line. And that's good, because once that mind opens up, then they spread that. They spread that shit like spores of a mushroom.
Seriously, bro.
Man. It does.
Like, imagine the most smartest genius child that's watching this right now. Had they not seen this, they may grow up and focus their whole life dedicated to proving space-time curvature, right? And dark matter. We gotta find it. Or maybe they'll start looking into people like Tesla and trying to figure out the workings and the framework of the ether and free all of us from this slave system and provide us some type of unity and unlimited resources, so that way we can evolve as a society, bro. That's the whole point. We have to get off of this fallacious foundation and move into more of truth, and that's the point of these conversations, bro.
Check this out, Sacred. This is my suspicion. Okay, I guess that's the best way to put it. So they're telling us that they're using coal and all this other shit and making energy for us, right? And they're charging us this money for all that shit that they do, I guess, right? But what I think they're actually doing is that they are harnessing it free out of the atmosphere and then feeding it to us and making us pay for it, man.
Oh my God, even think of that, mind blown, bro. If I find that out that they've been using the free energy to charge us for the non-unlimited resource, bro,
why wouldn't they?
I would be so mad about that, bro.
They shut
That's
down anybody
crazy.
that comes up with anything with free energy, right? They shut them right down, right?
Yeah, but then how are they going to get the tax money, dude? You know, they got to put people actually digging the shit out of the ground to get their tax money.
Yeah, they're digging it, but they're not bothering to making electricity.
Well, what are they going to do with it? They might as well burn it. I mean, shit. There's no point in not putting the carbon out there so you can go justify your bullshit. Oh, look, we measured some more carbon. Let's charge you more. You know, why not?
Yeah, you know, they want to do any other good money laundering operation. You have to make it look legit, dude.
Every year they consume more coal than they did the year before. Every year they consume more oil than they did the year before. Even though they put all this new solar panel and bullshit on, they keep consuming more energy. Try to have electric cars. How are they going to run these electric cars?
There's so much potential. The neutral negative ground that we stand on. Right.
It's all about the infrastructure, though. Like your car's not going to go unless you either put gas into it or charge it somehow. You know.
Well,
you got to charge.
They had electric cars before any gasoline cars.
Right. You got to charge them though. You got to generate electricity, and then you got to put it into the battery.
Electricity from the same thing. See, that's the difference. That's the difference. Where if the electricity, and look, the electricity potential that we have is fantastic, right? You're standing on a neutral ground plate, okay, with it's a land salt bridge, like a battery, right? And as you rise in elevation, the increase in electrical potential is 100 volts per meter of elevation, right? And there's something about 600 feet. 600 feet, because 600 feet, that was what Tesla wanted. Wardenclyffe Tower was changed to be that height, or I'm sorry, the that hotel at the last minute where he lived was changed at the last minute to be 600 feet tall, same height as Wardenclyffe Tower. So I think that's like where the maximum optimal
I would probably say optimal.
Yeah, the optimal voltage would be, for what they were doing. And he had this thing drilled way down into the ground too, so that he got that full connection. So I'm like, here we are on this magnificent clock, self-perpetuating, self-sustaining. It's fantastic.
What's the energy source? What's driving that thing?
I know, right?
That's the point, bro. They want you to think that all of this happened from an explosion of nothingness, man.
But what is the 0 point energy
design?
Well, what does the 0 point energy theory suggest? Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, what is the 0 point energy?
I think it has to do with something to do with like almost a Tesla coil. We've got and Mercury is definitely not the planet, but the element is definitely an accelerant for the electrical force. This is even known, the allegory of Saint Christopher, which is actually an alchemic allegory for the reaction of mercury and gold. But in any case, where we find, all right, so it's claimed that there's this Rupus Negro, this black magnetic mountain in the north, and I've actually seen where the wind maps are diverted around something there at the very center at 00. This is claimed to be this huge magnetic mountain. It's depicted on maps from antiquity, and around what the Arctic Circle is the highest concentration of cinnabar in the world. And cinnabar is an element that's used, that they actually get mercury from. It's, if you, for lack of a better term, call it mercury ore. This was often the same thing that was crushed up and used in a pigment of paint back in the day. And like a lot of your paintings of St. Christopher, are done with that cinnabar paint, and it's a red crimson color, and it's done with his sash like that, and that is representative of the Mercury. But it appears that it works electrically using both magnetics and electricity, which are both brother and sister. We have a positive sun, a negative moon going perpendicular to the two Gaussian surfaces around a magnetic pole. I don't know. That seems to be some
with a bunch of conductive salt water everywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting combination of a system just happened to just come to place.
Right.
Well, how old are batteries, you guys? Batteries were around like fucking all way back in antiquity. You know, it's not, batteries aren't even like new technology. It's not like we're even on some like brand new shit anymore. Like,
but here's what is interesting though. How old is the battery? Well, how old is the Earth? We're on one. We're on a battery.
Hey, that's a good question. You know what? I was just doing some research on this a short while ago, and I found out that Edward Hubble was actually, that's how we came with this expanding universe, because he saw these lights right in the distance, and they're, I guess, oscillating at a certain velocity or frequency, and he said, oh, they have to be moving away from us. That's why some light is a little bit lighter, some is a little bit dimmer, so they got to be expanding away. So when he did the calculation, like reverse engineered the calculations, he found that if he brought everything back to its origin, it came to the center of the Earth. The Earth was the oldest. He said, wait. The Earth can't be the oldest luminary or the oldest body in space. This can't be right, because this debunks everything that we know. So then he said, well, it can't be the objects moving. It has to be space itself. Everything's expanding, and it's all about your relative position. Now I don't have to acknowledge the failed prediction of the calculations that I just calculated. No matter if I was on the moon, everything's expanding from the moon. If I was on the sun, or if I was on Mercury, or if I was on Neptune, everything's expanding in all directions. It's the space.
Like the raisins in a loaf of bread.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But see that's how science works, bro. They come to an observation and an interpretation, and it doesn't align with the model. They just change it to make it work. That's fallacious, bro.
Right.
That's weird
probably
as
where
hell.
the stars. That's probably where the distances from the stars came from. It was like they have to be that far, right? So that's it worked it out backwards. They didn't assume
they get that wrong.
The distances of the stars all came from one fundamental measurement that's used, the AU, astronomical unit, and that's the unit of distance that it is between the Earth and the sun. Okay. So when all of these other calculations are based off of this other calculation that was based off of assumptive values. All right.
Right.
So we have to go to the basics and say, how do you know the distance to the sun? And there's where they run into trouble. They say, well, it's just simple geometry. Okay. So tell me this simple geometry that they use. And you find out that it's not simple geometry at all. And that they use a bunch of assumptive factors, whether it be the orbital radius of Venus. They just throw that in there, or the size of Venus.
Yeah.
You know, say, oh, Venus, since Venus
all
is
right,
the
you guys, I hate to interrupt.
What's up?
I got to go, Dave. I apologize. I got business.
All right, brother. Talking to you later, bro.
All right, Sacred.
Peace, Anthony. Yo, it was nice talking to you, bro. Looking forward to part 2.
All right, man.
What happens, man?
Come tap in with us on Twitter.
Will do.
Yeah, right on. So have you seen the latest James? What do I keep wanting to call it? The James Woods telescope, but it's the James Webb telescope.
The James Webb.
James Woods. Have you seen these latest picture that came back from that thing? This is this is a doozy.
And just on that last point too, with like, you know, the Hubble observation, it's funny how when he made that calculation and realized the Earth was potentially the center and the beginning of everything, because, you know, that also kind of aligns with the Bible. In the
It
beginning,
does.
there was the heaven and the earth. So just saying.
It does. What was this other nonsense? They said they sent a probe to the sun. I'm like, shut up. I just laugh when I see these articles come up. And
Space is real, Dave. Come on, bro.
It's like nobody's going, well, how did they keep that thing from melting? How did they get a signal back from it? 85 million miles. But we're also believing that 1970s technology on some probe we sent out called Voyager is still sending back data all the way it's gone past Pluto now. It took
What do you mean, David? They built those probes with like a few thousand kilobytes. Of course it could send high definition imagery all the way back from millions and millions of miles away. I mean, I know your phone has more power than it, but of course that's what's happening.
Where's it getting this transmitting power? How is it have any power?
Don't ask those questions in the public, David. Stop it. They don't want you to think for yourself.
So this is a picture from the James Webb Telescope, and man, they're trolling us. Look, there's a question mark.
But I don't see anything.
You don't see nothing on the screen?
I just see the ISS.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, no, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes.
Okay. So yeah, see that question mark thing in the middle?
No.
Yeah.
Question mark world.
And you can obviously see where they cloned these stars.
Globe Earthers, y'all said everything was spherical. What happened?
Right.
Y'all got to explain this. I thought everything was spherical, Globies.
Except for the flat galaxies that are spirals. Now, come on.
True. Gotta concede that point. Yo, Dave, this has been fun, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you for having me up here. I can't wait to run this back and check this out from the beginning. Like I said, I'm going to share it to all the level heads on Twitter. We're definitely going to tap in with you as well. I got post notifications on. If you guys don't, please sub to my guy. Great content, great conversations, and a lot of work and effort is put into this, guys. Like, no one becomes a flat earther for fun. Like, this is a lot of work.
Before we cut out, go ahead and go into the chat and just type hi or something like that, and then I'm gonna give you a wrench so you can share the link to all your stuff, man.
Oh, that's what's up, bro. Okay, hold on, let me see here. Hey, this is history, man. Steger getting his first YouTube wrench. Y'all witnessing history. Let's go. Let me stop.
Did you type anything? I don't see anything.
I put it in the studio chat. Go to YouTube chat.
Oh, no. Yeah, do it in the YouTube chat.
The YouTube chat? Okay, hold on one second.
Oh, yeah, I see the one for the private chat over here. There we go. Now, there you go. You're granted a wrench with all titles and privileges.
I appreciate that, man. I'll be tapping in every stream.
Right
except on
man.
Fridays, like I said, we do Flat Earth Fridays. But hopefully you'll join us, man, and come speak to us because, we got a lot of great Flat Earth minds on there. And also a lot of great globe earthers too. There's a few rational and intellectually honest globe earthers is just waiting for a little bit more information. So I think that's why it's important for people like you and I and the Witsits and the the Durfs and all those people of the world to have these conversations over and over, because there are some people that are intellectually honest and still trying to figure out the truth, because that's what it's all about. We all love the earth, we all love the sky, but what we all want for real.
Right. So now you do that on Twitter, right? On the Twitter Spaces or whatever. Because I watched Bill and Ted on there, or listened to Bill and Ted on there when they were with Conspiracy Smasher.
Oh yeah, did you catch that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was funny as hell, bro. That was really good conversation. I think didn't you have a recent stream with him?
Yeah, I had one with him too, man. He was like,
I just saw that. I think it was like 3-4 hours long. I gotta go watch that back.
Yeah, he's a mess.
He came in one time. He used to be really these guys are a different type when they are on the mic, relative than being like in the comment section. I seen some of the conversations that he has with certain people, but when he came into Flat Earth Fridays, he wasn't really on that type of toxic energy. And I told him, I said, hey, bro, you could continue to troll online all you want to, and that's cool. It's fun. It's still Twitter at the end of the day. But every single time you troll somebody, every single time you be toxic, you're just going to create another flat earther. Just keep that in mind. For all the globe earthers that are watching this and that will watch this, every single time you see a quote unquote true earther, flat earther trying to have a civil intellectual conversation, the moment you start being fallacious, toxic, and or emotional, you're going to create twice as many more flat earthers and true earthers. So keep that in mind when you have these conversations, or just come over here to the real side where we can, discuss the truth. It's that simple.
Right. Well, and this is something I see all the time. I see like sometimes the same adversarial people in the chat, and I'll be seeing them on other people's channels in the chat. And all I got to say about that is keep on doing it, bro. Keep on doing it.
Right.
You hang out in the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
Exactly. Keep banging on your flat keyboard, you keyboard warriors.
That's it. Because what I find is that if you throw something there that will embed itself like a splinter in the mind.
Ooh, I like that.
And it'll irritate, and it'll get worse because the subconscious works at it too, because the programming is working so hard to try to subdue it, but it just doesn't make sense, and those questions will still permeate in your head. Now, it doesn't always work, but a lot of times it does, because then they'll come back angry at you for putting the splinter in there. And then I can always tell when the splinter has made an irritation in their brain, because they always come back kind of hostile and then want me to solve every fucking question there is regarding flat earth all in one sentence.
And then if you don't know one thing while we're trying to figure out the globe model and the flat earth model, and it's like, oh, flat earth destroyed. It's like, come on, bro. Like, don't do that. Like, we're teaching you about the globe earth, and there's so much information that we're unpacking. We're learning about this on a daily basis. We don't need to. I think that was what's called a all or nothing fallacy. If you don't have it all figured out, then throw it all away.
Yep.
It's like,
exactly
no, bro.
That is. That's exactly what that is.
Falsification is independent of replacement.
You've seen on the Twitter the discussions about there's no discussions. Hell, oh my God. I have screenshotted some real doozies. I'll show them real quick of a couple of these guys. This is what I deal with. This is what we deal with. Wait, why is that doing that? I want this. There. Okay, so this is just insane. This is just insane. All right. Okay. I had somebody actually tell me containment does not create pressure.
Well, I don't see anything.
Damn this thing. What is going on with my freaking computer?
That's crazy. That's what the physicists try to tell me too. The physicists on Friday that works at CERN try to tell everybody, there's like 100-something people in there, that you don't need containment for gas pressure. Like, wait, what?
That's okay. That's not going to come up for some reason.
Oh no, I see it.
Oh,
you just
hang on. I can pull it back. Is it there still?
Containment does not create pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. He
wow.
literally said that. And then there was, is this the one? No, that's not. Where's my picture? There it is. And then there was this one. Then there was this one. Denser objects fall and less dense objects rise. Any gas is more dense than a vacuum. No need for a container. Nowhere for it to go.
What? Yo, these are the guys. See, this is the problem. This is the level of information that the globe earthers have in order to fight back against the truth. Just to say the most wildest, outlandish things. This is so crazy.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, are you really for? I had to tell a couple of these guys, I'm sorry, you're just too stupid to talk to. I mean, I'm in fear of becoming mentally retarded just from with you. I mean, for real. some of the shit that they say like that. And it's like, look, any gas pressure, notice the root word is press, right? Requires containment. In other words, something to press upon. So what causes the pressure is the gas trying to equalize with the surrounding pressure of the vessel in which it is in.
Basics physics.
Yeah, it's real easy shit, man. And
they don't like that because they know we can demonstrate that and they can't.
Exactly.
So they try to update the description of the terms.
So I always tell them, I say, can you show a demonstrable and repeatable experiment that can prove gravity preventing equalization of pressurized gases? Seems like a fair question, right? Because I can prove that it doesn't. And they say, oh, yeah, we'll prove that it doesn't. So I just show them a GIF of a guy opening a fucking can of soda. There it is. You see that spray that happens right there? That's the
equilibrium.
Yes, that's what's going on. So, but you
also got to consider that sometimes a lot of these accounts on Twitter could just be real life paid bots and paid trolls.
Oh, yeah.
Just to distract. You might be having like a really good back and forth with somebody making a really good point, and someone will jump in there and try to derail the conversation and take your mind off of something just by saying something completely ignorant. So you also got to take into consideration of how to allocate your energy and time. Sometimes it's just not worth it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's good for sparring, you know.
True.
I find it kind of therapeutic for sparring, at least, you know, and keeping your shit up. But then sometimes you run across them. But yeah, what you said is absolutely true. So I went off Facebook. I like deactivated my account for like a couple of years, and then I went back on, right? And previous to that, I had you know, argued and debated with globe trolls all over on Facebook, right? And in previous, right? So I turned my Facebook back on, and I go in and look at my blocked list, and all these globe trolls that I ended up having to block because they were just obnoxious as shit, they'd reverted back to their original names. I have the screenshots of these, and it was like fact bot, fact checker bot, such and such a bot, globe bot.
Oh no.
Every one of them was some kind of an AI. I think there was only actually 2 real profiles within any of the whole 3 pages.
Well, why would they need to do that if they have the truth on their side?
They don't have the truth on their side. That's exactly why they went to Congress and specifically asked them what they're doing about people talking about flat Earth and 9/11 and other such taboo subjects. And they outright said, the Alphabet Inc. person said, we're putting out algorithms that put those lower, you know, in other words, shadow banning and updating policies to prevent it and shit like that. And I was like, well, wait a second. There again, it's like with these laws they've got in Europe. If you question or deny any aspect of the Holocaust narrative, you can be jailed. Now, why in the world would that need to be protected with a jail sentence? Why would that need to be protected with law? Truth doesn't need law to be true.
We're just asking questions, YouTube. Chill off my man's account. We're just asking questions.
I mean, whether you believe that certain events during 1936 and 1945 actually happened the way that we're told or not is regardless to the point. What it really is that you don't need a law to protect truth, right? You don't need to censor anybody for their opinions. If it's not true, it'll fall away. I mean, how long would people argue with me if I said, you know, the sky is tartan plaid? How long do you think a motherfucker would spend on Twitter arguing with me that it's not?
You would completely be ignored because you wouldn't be a threat.
Exactly. But you mentioned something about flat Earth on one of the social medias. Boom, Agent Smiths are on you everywhere.
Silence, attack.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it's always the same shit. Like I said, I've been actually doing this now for a few years, and it's like, good God, like there's a couple of these people on that Twitter, and I know you've run into him, that T Ragsdale guy.
Oh, yeah, I see him on there.
You know, he's been on there since at least 2016, arguing the same tired bullshit.
Hey, well, we've been going for 62 weeks straight, and he still ain't pull up the Flat Earth Friday. So, hey, Ragsdale, if you listen to this, we clocking you, bro. You got so much time invested in it. Come have a conversation. Destroy it all in one conversation. If you can't, there's a reason why you're not pulling up.
There's another one, Bikini Atoll or some shit like that.
Yep, all bots. And there's a few of those accounts too. There's not just one. So I don't even know like if that's just one person.
Troll farm out of the UK.
That's part of the hashtag toxic Glober gang. And that's not a thing from Flat Earthers, guys. This is something that the Globe Earthers created. Hashtag toxic Glober gang.
Remember when Hillary was talking about her cyber army to combat cyber terror and shit like that, right? What do you think that consisted of? It's these troll farms, man. Yeah, Daniel Becker just said it the best. You win the internet today. It's the best thing I've heard all day. Professor Dave is a wretched idiot. Yes, indeed. I have to agree. Absolutely. Uncle Artie's Bar and Grill of Stupidity is here. Container pressure. What's he say? Container pressure proof. Turn a bottle or jug upside down, then lower it in the water, take it down underwater 10 feet, then measure the pressure of the air. There's your proof. Well, yeah, you get more and more pressure as you do that. Now, that's what I say about this nonsense about the space station, right? Look at this rickety shit. What IT guy or electrical engineer would ever have this shit? I mean, have you ever seen inside of a submarine? They don't have this kind of shit. And it's also compartmentalized in case a leak happens somewhere, right? This thing, if there's a leak in it, it's all over for everybody.
I heard from electricians that would violate like every single code if they had that like out like that. All those wires.
Oh my God, man. Can you imagine floating through there and your foot hooks some cable and rips it loose and you having a dickens of a time trying to figure out, where'd this come out of? I don't know. Oh, that was life support. Never mind. I mean, what the hell? It's a joke. It is absolutely a joke.
It's not that dangerous. I mean, you're only just falling around Earth at 18,000 miles per hour in an infinite vacuum of space. Like, that's awesome.
Well, now you're in low vacuum. I have this wrote down because you know how these guys are so pedantic. Like with my soda can thing, right? Here's the thing they always ask, what time of day was that taken? That kind of stupid shit, but I actually worked out what the pressure inside the soda can was at different temperatures so that these fuckers, when they wanted to ask their stupid pedantic questions, I just answer it, and it blew their mind because it's like, oh, wow, why do you already know that? But let me see. I had this. Okay, so that's a low vacuum, and a low vacuum is considered it's a anything between 760 torr to 10 to the negative 3 torr. Now, 10 to the negative 3, which is low vacuum, and that's where the space station supposedly is at. That's 0.00002 psi. Okay. Now, when the little sub imploded going down to see the Titanic, the pressure differential between the inside of that sub and outside of that sub was only a mere fraction of the pressure differential between this hunk of junk and the outside lack of pressure that I said was what? What did I say that was? 0.00002 psi. Okay. And I'm maintaining about 14 pounds per square inch inside of here on the positive range, right? That's a huge pressure difference, a huge pressure difference. Now, what do you think would happen in reality to this thing? Would it just,
Well, maybe the carbonates that they use in the ISS works differently than the ones in the water. Come on, Dave. Like, they got to figure it out.
this thing would blow up like a popcorn. It would blow
Instantly.
up like popcorn, like immediately. There ain't no way. And this thing's been up here hunking around for 20 some odd years or more. I mean, the whole thing when they put it together was a joke, right? They had the Americans sent up part, and then the Russians sent up another part. But lo and behold, they didn't match up. You know, I don't know, something about the metrics and the English, and it didn't, I don't know. So the European Space Agency had to come in with a little module. They built a module, an adapter, so that they came together between the US and I mean, it was all just a big political fucking show is all it was. Yet there's absolutely no videotape of the construction of this thing. There's no pictures of it being built. It's just, you know, they showed us animation of what they were going to do. And then all of a sudden we got this piece of shit flying around up there. And they've got all this for you so that you can say, ooh, look at all that science that they got.
Look at all the science.
You know, and that's where people's minds are at. They treat science as though it's an actual living object or some shit, you know, like it's a deity. And it's like, it's a process. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, but some people embody that, Dave. Some people are like, this the whole life is science. Everything that made them is their education. You know, they weren't good at anything else. They probably didn't have any family, any love from it. The only thing that they knew was their A's and their B's, their scholarships, their job, and their pay. And, you know, to challenge that, for them putting in so much work for being able to say, I am great at doing educational science, that threatens their whole personality and their whole reality. Absolutely. And it just shatters everything for them. So that's the main point.
And it's a lot of the people that follow along into that are they're all in too. Like I know that the highest percentage of those that went ahead and got experimented on were of the people that held degrees. And even within that dynamic, the higher percentage of those that went and had that done were amongst the higher degrees, like PhD level and shit like that. And it's like, wow. So I've come to the formulation, this term education to me every time, even since I was a kid, when I hear the term education, I'd always thought of like one of these dystopic re-education camps like you see in the movie. Like, you know, we got all these people in a fenced in yard and this loudspeaker going the whole time going, the government is lying to you. The Statue of Liberty is broken and shit like that, you know? It's like, I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, so I look at education like saying, when I hear these people say, you know, well, I'm highly educated. I'm like, yeah, but are you very learned? You see? Because to me, being educated means I took my brain out and I gave it to somebody and I let them fuck with it for 12 plus years. And then I became retarded.
Yeah, they turned you in, and shout out to all the, you know, cyborg, because I am a cyborg. But you know, they turn your whole brain into, you know, an input-output system, and that determines whether you're smart or not. Can you regurgitate the information that I'm telling you to learn? Because that's going to determine whether you're going to be successful in this society. And you know, that's what happened. They take away critical thought, they take away philosophy and conversation and ideas.
Well,
and they look down on that.
Start to go outside of the prescribed paradigm, you're punished in a sense through grading systems and, you know, failures. And you have to stay along those prescribed lines in order to get that magical piece of paper that tells you that you're smart. You see?
Yeah.
So critical thought is somewhat encouraged, but not overly encouraged, as it may threaten the very paradigm of the institution itself.
Right.
And so it's to their best interest. And of course, these universities and the banks are in cahoots with one another. And they have convinced people through social engineering that it is not only required, but perfectly normal for young people to go out, immerse themselves in insurmountable debt in order to receive one of these pieces of paper, you know? And it amazes me because you've got people actually going into marketing to get a degree, and they're studying how an overabundance of something within a system makes it less valuable. So not seeing that the abundance of people with these degrees, each one causes the degree they hold to be less valuable, not to mention the educational standard that's involved with actually receiving the degree. You have to understand that whatever degree you get, whether it be a high school diploma or a master's degree, is only as good as the stupidest person that holds one.
Ooh.
Okay, that's it.
I like that. Might
So-
actually tweet that out.
So, well, by touting your accolades, it really doesn't. If an accolade, if these degrees are not that difficult to come by, it doesn't necessarily mean you're very smart. Then, does it? You see, I mean, I've run across PhDs that have absolutely no fundamental command of the English language whatsoever, in both writing nor speaking.
Right.
And that just kind of blows me away.
That's a good point. I always say this, like the elites and everybody in control of all the systems that are put in place, you know, for society, they already have the money. They already have the apparent power. The last thing that they need to solidify whatever their goal is the control. So that's the one thing that they're just looking to finally get a grip on. And we're on the brink of consciousness where we can sway that, where we can get the control or they can. And that's why they're putting in so much overtime and trying to manipulate everything around us, all of the information, all of our frequencies, so we could submit and subdue to whatever they're trying to use us for. And because they're so focused on that, that means that they know something about us. They know that we have some type of power. We're special. There's a reason why we're here. And if we find out the true nature of our existence, then it's probably over for all of that. And that's the important part of this conversation.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I'm seeing, I'm saying, and a lot of people are saying, I'm looking at tipping point, probably mid 2024 to the end of 2024. I'm seeing a tipping point because we're getting to the 100th monkey effect. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, I've never heard that.
Oh, okay. It's really interesting. These scientists, they were studying these monkeys. They throw these on these islands off Japan, and they throw them these sweet potatoes, and these monkeys would eat the sweet potatoes, and they would do this on these other islands as well. And or no, they hadn't done it on any of the other islands yet. But what they did was one of the monkeys figured out that by rinsing off the sand off of the potatoes, then they would be easier for them to eat and a lot tastier. And so they would show other monkeys how to do that, or other monkeys would see them and start doing it. What they found out was these monkeys on the other islands, once the 100th monkey on this one island had reached a point where he was washing his potato off before he ate it, the other monkeys on the other islands automatically started washing their potatoes off. Like all at once. And it's sort of like this collective consciousness almost, like you can look throughout history, what of it is true, but we're told that like the bow and arrow became a concept around the same time all over Earth. Now, how could that be if there was no communication between, say, people in South America and people in Asia?
Right.
Yeah, they all developed the same weaponry at the same period of time. And it's almost like there's something that goes into, I don't know, lack of a better term, an Akashic record or whatnot. you know, and that's part of our thing, is that our thoughts create. Our thoughts create, because all creation begins with a thought. All exists within the mind of God, right?
Fact.
So it all goes within a thought, and once that thought is invoked, then it can make its way into creation, from the idea to the fruition of the idea. You understand? It's almost like, if you look at even our existence, right? As I said, you know, we exist, but in the mind of God, right? We've all heard of various characters like Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth and Hamlet, all these people, right? There's these characters, and they have intricate backstories and whole stories to their lives, right? But originally, before putting down in paper and spelled out, they exist only in the mind of William Shakespeare. So he spelled them out onto paper.
Yep.
And put these characters into other people's minds. But these characters only exist in those minds of those that have read the story or seen the play, right?
And was able to affect consciousness.
Right.
Everyone who did. Yep.
Right. So we do have great power, and they want to limit that. Both they're making it, they do those attempts both psychologically as well as physically, you know, through the chemicals and things that we ingest in our foods, the fluoride in our water, what have you. That's the physical attack, as well as the brainwashing attack. You live on a ball spinning around, and it's so Luciferian, sacred. It is so Luciferian. Everything is the opposite of what is being presented.
Correct.
Right? I mean,
I say that every week in space is like everything is inverted, y'all. Y'all really have to understand it. I know it doesn't seem like that, but every single thing that they do inverts our reality. Dude,
healthcare system that destroys health, right? We have an American Cancer Society that's 100 years old now. And since its inception, there's been like 1,000 different new kinds of cancer come out. What? That's totally ass backwards. We've got education systems that destroy knowledge. We've got religious institutions that destroy spirituality and totally antithesis to the creator. I mean, it's like, what in the world? Everything. And like you just pointed out, the sun is not magnificently huge and far away. It's rather small comparatively and close. The world is a small little ball spinning around in space. No, it's not. It's a rather large topographical plane that is stationary. I mean, everything is the opposite. You know?
Right. And that is the default position. So if the globe earthers are going to make the positive claim that it's something different from the default position, they have the burden of proof. And since I've been in this conversation, I haven't seen any of it.
All you got to do is work out the ratios of the eclipse, man. Okay, and it works out. All you have to do is take what the shadow that's left, which by the moon, which is about 70 miles wide, and work that out with the size of the moon. Then what you do is you put on the other side of the equation, you've got the size of the Earth, and that should be able to give you a ratio of what the size of the Earth's shadow across the moon would be. And with that same shit involved, you would see a little black circle go across the moon. It wouldn't eclipse the moon perfectly. It wouldn't do it. You can work the ratios out, and it does not work out. So they're either lying about the size and distance of the moon, or the Earth is much, much bigger than we're told.
I agree. So many different ways to attack this topic. Like I said, I can't wait to run this back to see exactly what you guys covered earlier. And I seen Durf comment that you guys didn't even really get to bring up any topics. Everything was pretty much in response to what my guy was saying. That'll be interesting to kind of look at. I
I wish you would have, kind of had a little better conversational decorum. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it takes time. That, like you said, he didn't really look into this that much. He also said that he does get excited about all different kind of conversations. And, I do respect the passion. I want, even if you take a certain position, you should be firm in that position. But when you're met with, an opposition or like, a refutation, that should be acknowledged. And he did say that we made a lot of good points that, we were able to articulate, or at least you guys. I know I came in for a little bit at the end, but, he did acknowledge that we made some points. So it wasn't like, he was just ignoring everything. I don't know if he retained all of the information, but, I think whatever that was said in this stream today, it's going to plant a seed, which is why he's motivated to look into this and maybe come back to the conversation. And it's funny because, like I said, we've been doing Flat Earth Fridays for like 62 weeks. There's been people that, we talked to last year when Twitter Spaces first started that are jumping back into Spaces now after not seeing them for like 50 episodes and saying, hey, Saker, you mentioned that last year and, this kind of makes sense over here now, as opposed to just saying, no, that's ridiculous. You guys are like, now they're coming back a year later and say, I started to look into a couple of those points that you said. I don't remember everything, but something that you said to me that time kind of resonated, and I started to look into things and I tried to refute it and I didn't really find the answer. So can you tell me a little bit more about this now, as opposed to you just trying to refute everything that I'm saying? Right. Now you're inquiring. So now your mind is open and you might not even realize. The next step is just accepting the truth of the nature of our reality. And that's the beautiful part of it.
That's what I can handle. If somebody's actually looking for the real knowledge, you can tell, if somebody's actually interested in learning and wanting to know about the subject, and those that are just coming in to be adversarial. Like when somebody just comes in and starts asking you like 50 freaking questions, like right off the bat, they're going, well, how do the seasons work? Where does the sun go? What's under the flat earth? How come there's, and it's like, wait a minute, one thing at a freaking time.
Or I guess galloping.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to shut it down.
Thank you so much once again, Simon. You've been a great host.
Listen, I'd love to have you back on. So we're every Tuesday night we're on at like 9:35. I usually put.
Okay.
So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification. But we're going to do a couple more shows during the week. One where I want to show it's a public domain movie now, but it's really interesting. It takes place in 1957, or that's when the movie was made. And it starts out talking about Admiral Byrd's expedition to the South Pole and how they found temperate water and warmer land as they went toward the interior.
A bunch of resources, that none of the nations are fighting over. They all agree, just leave those resources and land alone, guys. That's not important.
Well, it's a cheesy, overlooked B-grade movie from 1957. And the thing is they launch this expedition to go further in, and they find this tropical area, and there's dinosaurs and shit. And it's pretty cheesy because there's like puppet dinosaurs. I usually, with those movies, I do like a mystery science theater type thing. I just make
right
through the whole thing, because so that's something we like doing. I'm trying to set up a regular night for that.
Dope. We're looking forward to it.
So
we call Tuesdays True Earth Tuesdays. We call Wednesdays Wobbleless Wednesdays. And like I said, Wobbleless Wednesdays. Like I said earlier, you guys want to find us on Twitter and everything that we just search Flat Earth Fridays on Friday on any day, but Flat Earth Fridays. You'll find me. You'll find the level heads. We love the conversation. We love the truth. We usually go into stationary Saturdays after that. Yeah, we do this all week, bro. But yeah, tap in with us. We love to talk to you guys, whether you're globe Earth, flat Earth, potato Earth, watermelon Earth. We even have a concave Earther coming in sometimes. So we just want everyone's perspective. Yeah, you see it. I know you see the guy. But we just want everybody's perspective. We're trying to find the truth. Everyone has at least some type of nuggets or gems to share. And that's the only way that we're going to find it, is if we're connected, having that conversation and being honest with each other, because it's all about the truth and love at the end of the day. So shout out to you, Dave. I appreciate you, and everybody on the panel earlier, all the listeners. You guys are dope. Appreciate the engagement.
Yeah,
and let's keep the conversation going, man. We ain't
absolutely.
going nowhere.
Hey, DM me on Twitter. DM me
Yep.
on Twitter. And
We'll do.
We'll set some shit up. This would be really good. It'd be awesome as hell.
Let's go. All right, man. We out. Level heads. We in the building.
Right on. Right on. All right. And I want to thank everybody for coming. Naughty Hippo, my wife. Yes, I'm still going. We're shutting it down right now. I want to thank everybody for coming. Anthony, Flat Earth Dave, and Witsit. Those guys are great. Be sure and check out their channels. Should be links in my description of this video. And we'll see you next time on here. Remember what we always say: Lord loves the working man. Don't trust Whitey, and see your doctor and fire his ass, because he'll probably kill you. So until next time, everybody, we'll see you.